review. I'm excited. Let's get going. I am calling them now. I'm calling them now. Z. How's it going?
Hello.
Hi there.
How are you?
Very good, very good. Oh, we have a camera. Is it okay if I show you on stream?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, awesome. And what is your name? Because you went with Z here, so is there another name that I can call you?
Yeah. My name's Allie.
Allie, nice to meet you, Allie.
Yes.
Allie, tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been playing for, what are your goals, and what do you feel you struggle with the most?
Okay. I've been playing for over a year now. Right now I am bronze 2. My goal, honestly, I'm thinking like more so like in bits and pieces. I'm not shooting for like radiant or anything like that. I feel like by the end of this act, at least, I want to get close to gold. I feel like a lot of my troubles come with like in the moment being able to focus on the different sounds and things happening around me in my environment, and also like crosshair tracking. I feel like when I get caught in like a gunfight that I'm not prepared for, I have a tendency to like bot out and do stupid things like spray or crouch.
Okay.
I try to work on that a lot.
Okay. Do you think it's more rooted in emotion? Like maybe you get, like you said, you get caught out, so could it be like a fear response or something like that?
Not necessarily fear. I think it's more of like surprise. I will say that I have a tendency to get pretty mad in my games sometimes. So that could definitely play a part in it. Because it'll be like to the half, and I'm like, okay, my team just sucks. I would rather just leave. Okay.
And once again, just for chat, your name is again? Sorry?
Allie.
Allie. Okay, perfect.
Yes. With an IE.
With an IE. Okay, perfect. Did you know, did you ever watch, I'm thinking of Karate Kid. Mm-hmm. You've watched that, the original one?
Yeah.
Allie with a Y?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, you know what I'm talking about.
I do. Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of Zoomers in the chat that have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. Watch the original Karate Kid. Watch the original Karate Kid. All right,
I'm an old soul.
Okay, so you've seen it. That's good. All right, so a few things that I want to deep dive before we get into it. Obviously, mental and the impact that anger and emotion can have on our gameplay altogether. And this is something that's going to be a little bit more advanced that you don't need to necessarily worry about right now, but it's definitely something that's going to come up later on in your career, and it will affect your performance, right?
100%.
So anger in general, do you know what that can do to you in terms of how your body reacts and things like that? Can you know what that will do or hinder you in? Give me some ideas what you think.
Definitely my fine motor skills. I feel like I'm not as focused and paying attention to the smaller things that happen around me.
Yeah, your fine motor skills, you might have seen some of my TikToks on this. 80% of your fine motor control is thrown completely out the window when you get angry. It's actually insane. Yeah. And this is usually where you see it most commonly in driving, for example. People can't hold their steering wheel anymore. They make stupid decisions and all that stuff. And that's really the next part is, you know, your decision making, your ability to make really good rational decisions is completely thrown out the window at that point. So can you think of the last time you made a good decision when you were angry?
No, not really, because for the most part, I'm thinking of just getting through whatever it is that's making me angry, like trying to end it in the fastest way possible.
Okay,
and that doesn't always end in the best solution.
What sort of things do you do to end it as fast as possible? What are your strategies?
In Val specifically, I tend to just get aggressive and I'll like walk into side. I won't really care to like clear corners as well. I don't focus as much in my gunfights. I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm dead. And then I hop on my phone, which also isn't good.
Okay. Have you seen my TikToks on that too?
I have actually, and I have tried very hard not to do that as much.
Yeah, that's one of my takes that people just don't like, but it's just like, sorry, man, it doesn't matter if you like it or not. It's science.
I mean, it's true. It's like when you're studying for something, obviously, if you stop and look at your phone, you're going to be doing that for another 5 minutes and your focus is just like completely gone.
Yeah, definitely. So the key for you is to find a strategy to be able to take yourself out of anger.
Yeah.
And there's many different ways that you can do this. Depending on what the root of the anger is coming from, there's two things that I normally do.
Mhm.
whenever I get angry. It's usually because I have a disbelief in myself in that moment. So maybe there's something that I'm losing confidence in. And what I
Yeah.
do is I fall back on a protocol called the golden nugget. This golden nugget right here, you won't be able to see it on Discord, but if you're on stream, you'll be able to see it. This right here
Yeah.
represents my inner highest potential. I've seen my inner
Okay.
highest potential a few times in my life. One time when I won the award for top trainer in Canada, for example. Your highest potential can be different things. It doesn't necessarily have to be an award. It could be something that you maybe did for another person, right? Maybe
Mhm.
you walked up to someone and made that person smile on your day. That's like a representation of something that you done amazingly well, right? Now,
Right.
there's going to be times in your career where you're going to hit lows. We just talked about how people have bad days in chat, right? And it's totally
Mhm.
fine. How you deal with your bad day will determine if you're going to be a champion or not, if you're going to move forward with something in your life, right? So these are tests, and you need to realize that they are tests. But the big point is, more than anything, to be able to deal with that is to understand that this moment in time is not a representation of who you are. It is just one simple moment of time among many moments and many games in your career in terms of Valorant. So not
Yeah.
one game defines you as a player, and it's very important for you to repeat that to yourself. And always remember that there has been times in your past where you've probably done incredibly well in Valorant. Can you think of
Mhm.
any times you've done it?
Yes. I've been trying to main raise a little more lately, and I have noticed that at least in the last month or so, I've gotten a lot better at clutching in situations. When I'm forced in a pinch, I can isolate fights really well, and I'm more focused on taking ratty positions so that I can catch them off
Wow,
guard,
insane,
gives me
crazy
more of an
stream
edge on
content.
them.
Wowzers, crazy nuts, wowzer.
And at any time I'm in that situation where I like play into my strengths better, I've noticed that I usually am performing better overall.
Yeah. So you've had moments probably in game and in life where you've done incredible things. And it's always
Mhm.
important to think about two or three of them. I like to write them down, right? I have them near me. I have them on my wall. I can, put it up on the wall and look at it. So
Mhm.
just to remind myself that I have done great things and I am capable of great things and we can see it more and more often, right?
Yeah.
So it is possible to always get out of that. So that's one of the things that I recommend doing and seeing if that will help a little bit. The other thing that can really help, there's actually three things. I forgot the other thing. What kind of smells do you like? There's probably something that you could remember that's given you joy, right? I'll give you a couple examples that I have. One of them is lavender. I really do enjoy lavender.
Yeah.
Um, Mahogany and wood. I don't know if you ever been in a sauna. The smell of the sauna, like a clean sauna, not a dirty one, but you know
Not in
that wood smell.
a sauna necessarily, but I am a Bath and Body Works browser, so I can
Okay,
imagine.
so you've got a few things, probably a few smells that you like. I'll
Yeah.
give you another one. I For some reason I love gasoline. The gasoline, I just
Yeah,
love it.
I totally understand that. It's like sniffing a Sharpie.
Exactly, yeah. There's something about it. It's like intoxicating. Most people don't
Yeah.
like it, but for you and me, we like it. So
Yeah.
science has shown that one of the easiest ways to get out of anger is to surround yourself with smells that make you have an attachment to a fond memory, okay?
Mm.
Or something that you really enjoy, right? For me,
Mhm.
another one that I really like, in Canada, we have this restaurant called Swiss Chalet. And
Okay.
Swiss Chalet has this very unique house sauce that they use for dipping your fries in, dipping your chicken in, and it's got a very unique smell. And I've got so many good memories of going to this particular restaurant with my family, for example,
Mhm.
and just being able to smell that sometimes. I'm not going to have that on hand all the time, but it will
Yeah.
bring back these good memories, right? So it's
And
really
it calms you.
difficult. Exactly. It's really difficult to get angry when you're thinking about all these good things. It's like if you're
Yeah.
thinking about happy puppies jumping around, how can you sit there and be angry? Unless you're a psychopath, right? That's
That's
like a
true. That's
different.
true.
It's a whole different thing, right? So
Yeah.
smells are also a really good one. Okay.
Mm.
Then the last one, I totally lost it now because I've been thinking about it too much.
You were thinking very hard
Oh
about the
my goodness.
gasoline.
Yeah, the gasoline is interrupting me. The last one is the most important one. I've completely forgotten it. Guys, help me. I've talked about this before in chat. What are the ways of breaking anger? Ways of breaking anger. Um, I was going to say that the other one is that every round is a brand new game, but that
I was
kind
gonna
of
say,
leads into.
usually when I perform better while I'm like a bit tilted, it improves my mental a bit because I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I'm not as ass as I thought I was.
Okay, and this is actually you kind of cued me into my last one. So the last thing that I
Okay.
find helps really well is something called the Game Changer Protocol or the Houdini method. Do you know who Harold Houdini is?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, he was a master of getting himself out of all of these different contraptions and traps and whatnot.
Mhm.
Houdini, or the Houdini protocol, is the exact same thing, turning failure into success or struggle
Mhm.
into success, right? So we're gonna unhook ourselves from this, and the way that we do that is we ask ourselves three questions whenever we're in a sense of struggle. And the first question we're gonna
Okay.
ask is, what is good about this situation? Okay.
Mhm.
Woohoudini, not quite Woohoudini, no. Houdini. So what is good about this scenario, right? It could be anything in our lives. We just look at it and it's like, what is good about this, right? What can we be grateful of in this moment for what's happening right here, right? The
Mhm.
next thing we should always ask ourselves is, what did we learn? And the last question we're going to ask ourselves is, what can we do better next time? This is a sense of being curious. Whenever we're angry, if we can break anger with curiosity, we're off to the races because we're spending too much time asking questions that we can't be emotionally attached to the moment. So
Yeah.
those are the three things I find work really well for people who deal with anger. And I've had a few clients in here. Fakey, I saw you in here as well. Fakey was one of the first people that we talked about anger on this stream. I know he still has some struggles here and there, but I'm sure that some of these protocols has definitely helped him deal with some of the things that he's dealt with in the past. So start trying these little things, implement that, and see if that changes things a little bit. It doesn't even necessarily have to be
Okay.
practiced within game. It can also be practiced in life as well. Whenever you're in these moments of anger, just ask yourself, why am I angry? What do I have to believe in this moment to feel the way that I am? All right. And a lot of
Mhm.
the times we can break a lot of these bad habits and these bad thought processes just by asking the right questions. That sound good?
Mhm.
Okay, I went on a big tangent with that one, but I felt
No,
like it
you're
was
good.
definitely necessary. So we'll get into a little bit more of the nitty gritty of the actual game itself and get into that. So I noticed you're playing KJ. What is it about KJ
Yes.
that you like?
Um, I don't typically get to play her usually because I play a lot with my friends, and for some reason, every single one of my friends is a KJ main. So I like playing her when I solo queue, mostly because I feel like she is a bit underrated as a character in terms of like attacking because her kit is built towards more defending and retaking your
Hmm.
site or
Okay.
like post plant defense. So I like to use her utility in a more aggressive way, especially upon taking entry. Like here, I try to place my turret on the box and then immediately get clapped. But I think that she's really fun and she can be very diverse in the way that you use her.
Okay, perfect. So let's talk about the way that you use her. The first thing we always want to ask ourselves, and this might be a tougher
Yeah.
question for you because probably no one's ever came up to you when asking this kind of question, especially in your rank.
Mhm.
But let's look at your composition right now.
Right.
And what I want you to do is give me an idea in your head as to what you think your role is in this comp. What is your
So
job?
I have one duelist, one initiator, one controller, and two sentinels. So I feel like between me and Sage, I should probably be the one to watch flank better because I
Got
have
it.
the tools necessary to do it, and she can hold sight better than I can. So, like in our attacking rounds, at least, I think I've noticed that I have a tendency to like alarm bot the entry so that I can tell if anybody's flanking
Hmm.
or watching our backs basically, while she tends to take the more like on-site role.
Absolutely. Okay. So here's where I think we make a small mistake. And you're
Yes.
you're hitting it right. And I think you have the right direction with what you're trying to do, but we can be a little bit more efficient with it. You decided to throw your turret aggressively here. And we're going to talk a
Yes.
little bit more about why you did that because I'm curious to hear your thought process. And you decided to throw this alarm bot here, which is fine.
Yes.
The problem with throwing your alarm bot in this spot right here is it gives us minimal amount of time to react if someone's flanking. Okay?
Right.
Because by the time that this triggers, they could have already jumped up on this spot and shot someone who's going to
Hmm.
be playing in short. Okay? And we
Right.
have no information.
We
So
also have no way of knowing what path they're going to take.
correct. Correct. So they break that, or they even walk out past it and shoot our teammates as it's being tripped. So it's not going
Hmm.
to be as effective as we're hoping for. Right idea,
Right.
probably not the right implementation. So here's what
Right.
I would recommend you switch to. If you have distancing in your favor, you could place your alarm bot in this spot. So at the very least, we have a little bit more time to react to it. Or you take your turret and you place your turret towards garden here on this spot. Now the turret in this spot will alarm us much earlier if someone's coming from this path. So we'll know much more earlier. And if someone peeks out here, we'll know much more earlier again. Okay?
Right.
Now, one of the things that you want to consider as well as KJ is thinking about, and this is probably not going to happen again in your rank, but thinking about who can counter you. Okay? Who can counter your utility?
Between them, I would say Jet most likely.
Yep.
Because she has the ability to dash out of it and updraft.
Correct. Yeah. I would say in your rank, you're probably not too worried about the harbor. Okay.
No.
You're probably not worried about someone shock darting all of your nano swarms either. But those are things that will come up later on. Okay. So the major counter here is this person, and they probably won't even use their cloudburst properly. But it's something to think about. Usually if you have someone cloudbursting, you're probably going to want, or an omen for example, you might want to double up your utility, your flank utility, just to be able to cover that, especially with a comp like this where you have double sentinel. Okay, so let's go through your thought process. So that was the first thing. Place your turret down so that we can have a more deeper angle and get more time to react. The biggest problem with people in bronze is that they don't react, right? This thing will go off and all three of them will still be staring at A main, A entrance, okay? So you need to give them as much time as possible, as much leeway space as you can. Agree or disagree? Are you there? Did I lose you? I think I lost you. Oh, you're there. Oh, you're frozen. I did lose her. How's it going, Insane? Kai, Solos, thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate you with the follow. Wendler with a tier 1. 8 months. 8 months. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Sorry, there's a storm outside. No worries. There's a little bit of a storm outside. So what we're going to do, guys, is I'm going to get some push-ups in because I got Wendler's push-ups to do with the tier 1 sub. Thanks for the quality content. Hey, I appreciate you coming out, Kai. Where are you coming from? You coming from YouTube? You coming from TikTok? Where are you from? Soldiers are listening in the chat. Oh, thank you, Insane. That's really helpful. Now I get to do 110 push-ups. Appreciate you. Thank you so much, Insane. You're nuts. Kian, thank you for coming in. All right, fine. While we're waiting, we'll get some push-ups in. Let's do it.
You're going to play a typical number.
Oh, okay, a referral. Thank you so much, Kian, for bringing them out. I gotta do 110. Jeez Louise. I gotta do 110 push-ups. I'll be right back. One second.
You're going to play a typical number with a typical amount of loud and low.
I wasn't ready to work a sweat right now.
Do this. Smoking. Right. Right on. Hell yeah.
Cat Scara, thank you so much for the prime sub. 50.
That was kind of impressive.
You know what? I haven't been sub bombed in a while. I can tell because I did 70 at one point, but now I'm exhausted at 50. All right, so that gives me 70 more to go. Do you guys remember when you guys sub bombed me for like 300 subs in one day? Something like that. It was like 100 subs in one day. It was 1,000 fucking push-ups.
Let's do this.
Those were the days.
Do this. Yeah. Right. Right on.
Ah! Another 25 down. Excuse me a second, Allie. Almost there.
Oh, you're good. I'm rooting for you. This is more than I can do.
Yo, King Solo, don't bring Mr. Beast in here. The guy will drop like 10,000 subs on me. I'd be like, fuck. All right, so that's 75. 75 out of 120.
System diagnostics.
I gotta get another 25 done.
I believe in you.
Machine
Thank you.
status fully operational. System online. All stations are now enabled.
My arm's giving out.
Target the resistance.
Fall down.
Operation Overkill.
Oh, I'm out of shape again. Fuck. It's been a nice couple of weeks, no subs. Just chilling. I think I'm up to, it'll be 180 so far today. By the time I'm done here. Appreciate the support, guys. Thank you so much.
Operation
14 more.
Kill them all.
Who's gonna carry the boats? All right, we're back. Can you see everything?
Yes. Now, I want to clarify, I am very embarrassed of how this particular fight ended because looking back at it, there are so many ways that I could have done this differently. You can literally see where I'm being shot from. There's an indicator on the screen. You can see the bullets, and I'm just like, oh, turret.
Well, let's break it down. Because I think the first thing was if you place a turret back there, a lot of this wouldn't have been an issue. And Wendler's very
Yeah.
right. Don't be embarrassed because there's a lot of things. This game is very complicated. How long have you been playing for?
For like a year, and before that, my
Okay.
only real like shooter experience was Splatoon. So that's obviously very.
How
very
is that
different.
game? I was considering
Oh
competing
my
in it a
God.
long time ago.
Well, I don't know if it's actually good or if it's the tism, but it definitely is really, really fun, and it's so unserious too. So it's good if you're not trying to like take things in a very competitive way.
Okay. Yeah, I remember when it first came out, I'm like, man, this might be my game. I might have to like compete in it. And it did get kind of big, so that's crazy.
It's good.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to play it at all. I was gonna play it when I
heal stage.
was competing in tactical shooters, but didn't end up happening. Okay, so
Right.
you've said it yourself, you know, and this is very important, Chad. I've talked about this a million times. Record your VODs and watch it back and ask questions, right? You have too much here that you need to go over usually. I have a notepad with me all the time, and I write down the rounds that I want to review, and then afterwards, and you guys see me do it before in Discord, I'll go back into the VOD and I'll look at specific things like what happened in this moment. Oh, that's what happened, right? So it's the level of value you get from a VOD review is just immense. You said it yourself, there's a million things you could have done. I think the first thing you do is you place turret away. This is why it doesn't end up being an issue. Why were you so
Right.
adamant in placing a turret here? What were you trying to do?
Well, my goal was that if Sage and I pushed up shower, or not showers, if we pushed up sewer and I had placed this turret on the box, then that would have given the enemy team three different areas of fire that they would have had to have taken out somehow.
Okay.
So I was more focused on aggravating and trying to gain space.
I think you're playing a little bit too much chess when you should be playing checkers right now. You gotta keep it a little
Yeah.
more simple. The biggest
Yeah.
thing is that in bronze, it's, and just don't take this the wrong way, but it becomes a glorified deathmatch because people aren't really doing things proper at all, right? In your
Yeah.
rank. So a lot of it ends up coming down to keeping the game as simple as you possibly can. Remember
Right.
what your role is and play to your role. You putting the
Right.
turret up here, most often or not, when you're playing in a higher rank, they'll just immediately destroy it. So you're not going to get a whole lot of value off of an aggressive turret, other than maybe on defense to try to take the space. And Osti is correct. Osti is a high rank player. I appreciate and respect the thought process, is what they said. So I like it too. I think it's just a little too advanced for right now. We got to keep the game as simple as we possibly can. Okay.
The first pistol, so it was kind of a lot.
How are you feeling in this moment?
I was confused. I didn't realize where she had come from until after I had gone back and watched my VOD over
Yeah.
before sending it to you, and then I saw it. I was like, oh, first of all, she was directly in front of me. Sage was body blocking me barely, and I watched where she ducked out from.
Mm-hmm.
I watched where her bullet was hitting me from before she ducked away, and I never thought to train my crosshair on the area for when she peeked back out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's another piece too to make the game simple for yourself. If you're always second in, or if you're coming in behind someone, they require you to trade, right? Now,
Right.
if she's kind of, I will say that she's hoping that you're going to trade off of her, right? Maybe she's thinking
Definitely.
about it without even saying anything. But you could have also said that you're going to do this. That way, she's more aware of what's happening too. Okay.
I could have
So,
said that, yeah.
yeah, communication's very key. I think on this point right here, you keep the game simple. You peek with the Sage at that point. Once you have the space locked down, then you can play start afterwards. Okay.
Right.
So listen to myself, huh? That's why VOD reviewing is hard for me. So
I
you
think
cringe so much.
I snapped on it. I snapped back on her fairly decently. It's just that, you know, she already was like 2 or 3 shots into me and I was shooting body, so it wasn't going to get anywhere.
Yeah, when they're peeking out on you, they're gonna have an inherent advantage. I actually had,
Right.
I didn't have an argument on YouTube, but someone was saying that like peeker's advantage didn't exist basically, and they were telling me that if you hold 2 direction keys, which I've talked about millions of times, you'll still be able to hit your shot effectively. But like you could clearly see an advantage when someone strafes out in a straight line, peeking from behind cover. They have an advantage. So like you say, you know, you snap on them, but they've already shot 3 shots at you by the time you
Right.
shot your first. You just don't even realize it yet. So, good point.
Right.
Have we established your confidence in communicating in game? I've seen a lot of social wheel when you were just playing. I love that, Osti. Thanks for bringing that up. How would you rate yourself out of 10 in terms of your comms in game?
Overall, I think that I can calm fairly well. I'm not necessarily the best at calling my actions in the moment when I'm doing them. You know, like I'm not going to sit here and say like clearing garage, someone is this, this, and this. I will, however, like try to say when I know that somebody is coming from somewhere or I'm trying to give advice, but I'm not like the most confident talker, so it doesn't always come through as much. Like I've noticed, especially in this VOD, that I usually tend to like type or ping rather than say something, but towards closer to the end of the game, I'm using my comms a lot more, and so is the rest of my team. It's just that calming is really hit or miss for me because obviously a lot of the time I get weird people saying things, and then it just like sets the mood for the rest of the game. It's like I don't want to try.
Okay. So let's deal with that first, because I actually made a TikTok about that today, and misogyny and all this bullshit, right? So
Yeah.
let's talk about that first. Let's watch this round, and I think there's actually some decent comms in this game from what I'm hearing for your rank. But I want you to
Yeah.
give your team a score out of 10 for the quality of comms. And chat, you can join us as well. Quality of comms you're receiving in terms of helpful comms you're receiving in this particular round. Let's listen to it together, and then we'll go from there. Okay? Number out of 10.
Take flight.
That's a lot.
Placing alarm bot.
Scanning ahead.
95 right now, she healed. She's on C-side.
Over grass.
Oh.
One enemy remaining. Last player standing.
Shot that.
Dingle FPS says 2 out of 10. Kian says 2 out of 10.
I'm seeing a lot of low numbers. I will say,
What were you thinking it was?
I don't know who it was, maybe the Brim, but somebody called there's a lot on site at the very beginning when we were trying to entry.
Okay.
So I thought that was pretty fair.
A lot on
Overall,
site.
I would say maybe like a 3 or 4.
3 or 4.
Just because it's not like consistent throughout the round, it's just like calling out numbers after you lose a fight or saying a lot, which is not very descriptive, but it's pretty general.
I feel like I just want to reach through my monitor right now and just give you a big hug and just say it's going to be okay. Because if you thought that was a 3 or a 4, your bar is so low. Your bar is so freaking low right now. I'm going to show you what I think 8 out of 10 comms are. And I'm going to say this because when I was playing here, I was really rusty and I wasn't like ready to go. This was a Radiant scrim, okay? So take a listen to this. This Radiant scrim footage will show you how important it is to do action comms. Action comms are quite simply what you're seeing, what you're doing, when you're doing it, and how you're peeking. If you do this and master it, it will definitely help you rank up. This is always fun to do for a student because they have no idea
I can't.
what they're missing.
Another one spawn.
When they come through
One more
comms.
spawn. Two spawn. Playing close. One more.
2v1, 2v1.
She's there.
And I think
Where they contact.
I'm going lane.
he's still there.
Peeking off you.
He's not in yet. 3, 2, 1, swinging.
Ah,
I'm playing logs.
Yeah, I'm gonna go up there.
Oh,
I'll pick stairs.
I might die in a second.
Everyone.
They know I'm here.
I'm with you, really.
I peek out my chair for CT.
Flashing and peeking.
Okay.
Flashing again. Flashing again. Flashing again. Flashing again. Left side. Hurt.
Peeking.
nice.
Okay.
That was a lot.
Yeah, it seems like a lot, right? Like, because you haven't really experienced that kind of environment. And honestly, once you start practicing in that environment, it just becomes natural. A lot of the players that were on that team have played on LAN before. And when you're in a LAN environment, it is so loud. There's people screaming, yelling profanities, all this crap, right? People throwing popcorn in the air. There's a lot of distractions. So you need to repeat yourself a few times to confirm calls, all that good stuff. So that's why you're hearing a lot, if you will. But ultimately, this is how a higher ranked team or higher ranked players are going to communicate. They're confirming, they're yelling numbers, they're saying when they're going to peak things. In that 2v1 situation, that was pretty well cut and dry what it should sound like, right? Telling the person what you're going to do so that they can play off you properly and get a good trade. This is the difference, right? So now after seeing that, knowing that for me that was an 8 out of 10, what would you give your team out of 10 in terms of their comms?
Definitely was nothing like that. I would probably lower it to maybe like a 1 or a 2 at that point, solely because, like I said, all of the calls that we were making were based like upon seeing how many were on site and our numbers after we lost a fight.
And this is why right now I'm giving you an air hug right now. I'm patting your back. I'm saying it's gonna be okay. Don't worry. It's gonna be okay. We're gonna get through this. a two, and yeah, Austin's gonna say 2. That is very generous. I agree. Very generous giving it 2. I'll give you that. Now, that being said, a lot of these people have never had a chance to sit down and have a coaching session with me, so I'm not gonna hold it against them. It doesn't make them a bad person, right? But what I am going to say is, if a team in ranked, and this is probably usually what you're going to get all the time, right? Like if we choose another round right now, we just play through this round that we're going to see right here, and we listen to the quality comms, I bet she's going to be very similar, right? It's probably not going to be good at all. So that being said, if you've got this much in terms of in quality of comms, is it really worth you sitting here and listening to someone talk trash to you, right?
No.
No, it's not. So as weird as this may sound, and a lot of coaches may disagree with me on this, you can get through a ranked match without having any of your comms on, having your teammates completely muted, and just playing off of what you know from the minimap. And this is something that I'm not just speaking on my ass. I got to Valorant, which is the original Radiant, not having any comms on. And I was just communicating to my team, so practicing my own delivery of comms, but not having to listen to the toxicity that was the Valorant community and people that are telling me that I'm communicating too much and all sort of stuff. It's like, you guys have never done anything outside of playing this this ranked match, so you have no room to speak at all, right? So ultimately, you don't need to have it. You really don't. In fact, what you could do is turn on your character voice comms, make them a little bit louder, because the character voice comms more often than not are going to communicate how many people they see. Exactly. So why sit here and listen to this misogynist asshole who means absolutely nothing to you and has no meaning or merit in your life, right?
I actually really agree with that. I feel like in the last month or so, I've made a much better point than I did in this match to focus more on my mini map and seeing what happens there, because you can catch pretty much everything that both the enemy team and your team is doing just solely by watching the map, because you can see if they're using util on one site, but there's somebody pushing you on another. It's probably a fake that you're experiencing and you need to rotate.
Yeah, and there's just so much value you get off the minimap. It's just like you should be training yourself to develop that skill ultimately. Like yesterday, or was it Sunday, I learned something new about the minimap I didn't know. When you're on Pearl and someone opens the door, whether it be on your team or the other enemy team, something pops up on the minimap, so you know exactly.
Always see the icon.
Yeah, I never noticed it. Like, I've been playing this thing for like 2 years, right? 2-3 years, right? Since beta. So I never noticed that. There's things you'll learn all the time in this game, and you should always be actively trying to learn. But ultimately, that minimap skill is so key. And that's the next thing I want to talk about is look at your minimap right now. I know the round hasn't started, but what's going on at C right now?
Nobody's there.
Yeah, we don't, well, on our end, no one is there. The round hasn't started, but you can't see the site. So if someone on your team is moving up here and taking a fight, you have no idea what the numbers are over there. So here's what I'm going to recommend you do.
Can you fix that?
You can. What you're going to do is you're going to go into your settings. You're going to go into the radar, which is usually in general. I believe it's in general. And you can take player center off. It's just an option. You just click it off. And what it's going to do is it's going to set the mini map right to the center and rotate from that point. So you can see the entire map at that point. Okay?
Oh.
Game changer. Let's give her a name.
That was actually a thing I did not know. This is like, I was watching this back earlier today, and there was one specific round where I was talking about how we didn't need to rotate back to A because my turret was watching both of the entries. But I realized in that moment that my turret had a radius and I wasn't standing in it. So even if somebody was coming to A, I wouldn't be able to tell my team because I was standing outside of its reach.
Exactly. Yeah, that's gonna happen a lot. Okay, so you guys ended up buying, which is making this a broken buy on this one. So at any point in time where this is happening, you're gonna start rolling rounds in the opposite direction. Things are gonna start going out of whack in terms of money. So whatever it is that you bought in the last round, we definitely don't want to be doing that. We want to make sure that we're able to full buy on this round. Because there's no point in continuing just buying over and over again, otherwise you're gonna get completely ran over. Let's go back just a little bit because I think we just saw some information here. It's gonna be hard to make this call, but I'm pretty sure there's 3 on C right now. 1, 2, yeah, there's 3 on C. Okay.
2 in one corner and 1 on the other.
Yeah, exactly. So let me ask you a question. Would you rather go into this bomb site, fighting 3 of them onto this choke point that you're gonna be running through? Or would you rather say, hey, 3 on C, do we go A question mark and try and get the hell out of here? What would you like to do? You leave and go
because there's no reason that you have to push a fight where you're being pinched on both sides.
Correct, yeah. Now, this is going to be nasty. It could work because you guys all have close range weapons, if you guys all commit together. This could work, but statistically it shouldn't be in your favor at all. Okay?
Right.
Perfect. We got a pick and we're backing off. This could work really well for us. Here's the thing. Are you safe right now?
Not really. I mean, actually, I would say that we're safe in this very moment because we just rotated. So realistically, the farthest they could be at this point is somewhere between B and their spawn. So I feel like at this moment we are fairly safe. It'd be only up until we get into either main or sewers that we'd have to start being concerned and watching for points, because they can rotate from C to A a lot faster than we can, solely because they can travel through B.
Who do they have? They had Raze. Who else did they have on that site? Was that Sage? Sage and Phoenix, right? Phoenix was there, I think, and then Sage is here. Okay, perfect. So where do you think the other two are?
I have
If we're
no
rotating
idea.
this way. If we're rotating this way, and we're at this point, where do you think the other two are? Take a guess.
Realistically, I feel like one could be in the garage window, and one could be closer to B.
Like right here?
Yeah.
So 0% chance no one's here?
Not 0%, I just don't think they're close enough to catch us before we make it onto site. But they
Well,
could be anywhere as far as I know.
if you have my chat open, you get spoilers. Because here's the thing, they could be anywhere. They could literally be anywhere. Now, one of the issues that lower ranked players struggle with is understanding the offside line. Okay? The offside line is a theory in which the defenders cannot pass this invisible line. They can't go anywhere past this invisible line. It's like a rule. It's like if you go here, you're offside, you're a bad person, you shouldn't do that, right? This couldn't be any more wrong from the truth, couldn't be any further from the truth, okay?
Right.
What
I definitely
you
don't do that when I'm defending.
Yeah, and that's where I figured that the issue was going to come in because you showed me a KJ VOD, and usually when KJs at lower ranks are struggling, it's because they don't know how to take space a lot of the time. So I'm sure once we get into Harbor, thank you, it was Harbor. So it would have been this person here, and then Harbor was there, or something like this. And anyway, so whatever the setup was. The point being is that we don't have to play within this invisible rule, and neither does the enemy team. When you get to this position right here and you're throwing the alarm bot down and you're exposing yourself to this threat angle and this threat angle, there's a very real possibility that this jet could have pushed up. Think about it from their perspective. When you were running up C here and you got spotted and Harbor saw a whole bunch and they saw you going into here, we know the quality of comms are low, right? Altogether.
Right.
What do you think Harbor's communicating to his team when he sees that?
Everyone's in C long, so maybe it could give one of their healers the idea to flank on us.
You're gonna hear there's a lot here C, or everyone C long, exactly, or they're rushing C, right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing, most people in your rank, if it's the jet, is gonna start here, which is dumb, and they're gonna start rotating all the way out. In higher ranks, they're gonna start pushing out here to start setting up flanks. They might even set themselves in this corner and wait for someone to push through, for example. So there's a very real possibility that when you get to this position here, you're exposed to threats. You're exposed to many threats. Correct, because someone can be there. So here's what you need to understand. You cannot place utility in a spot where there's a potential of a threat. Okay?
Okay.
A potential of a threat is identified on your minimap as a place that your current teammates are not currently watching. This is the most important lesson that iron, bronze, silver, and gold players must learn. It's understanding where the threat comes from, okay? So if we're going through here, this entire space right now is potential of a threat.
Right.
You actually cannot afford to have your knife out here, okay? Because these random kids at your rank, remember, this is like a glorified death match. They're going to be all over the place. Right? And there's some coaches that will disagree and say, no, you should knife out and move as fast as you possibly can. I'm going to say, leave less up to the imagination here and make sure you're able to shoot back. Okay?
Right.
So I would take your gun out here because this entire time you just walk past here, someone could have pushed through mid. Remember, it's a death match at this rank. The next piece right here, you have your knife out, you're dead from the long. Okay? That's 2 times. You might be dead from window 3 times. You pull out your utility, you're dead from short. Okay? You put this down, oh, you're dead from the corner. You're dead from long. You're dead from short. You've died 7 times already. Okay? You're still dying. Your knife is out. Your knife is out. Threat area. Threat area. You're dead from here. You're dead from the left corner. Dead from the right corner. You're dead from heaven. You're dead from CT. You're dead from backside. How many times have you died so far?
At least 15.
Yeah, I've lost count, right? You're still dying. You're still dying, by the way, right? So it's very important for you to understand that this rank. Oh, by the way, you're dead with utility out. Wow, amazing. Can we get a prediction clip for the chat for that play? Right? It's very important at these ranks to understand where's the threat coming from. If your teammates are not there covering it, assume the worst, period. Okay?
Right.
Gonna have to add that one in.
Over my fucking hand.
That's gonna be a TikTok.
God.
There they are.
The whole time this is happening, our Raze is in mid with a Marshall, which was killing me. Okay. I think I should take Spike. I don't really... Usually, when I feel like my team is being stupid, in addition to me being stupid, I'm like, okay, let me take control of the situation. I'm gonna take the Spike so that if we need to rotate, I can just initiate it myself. If we need to hold off and play for picks, I can initiate that myself. I'm not worried about someone running in there and throwing off the way the game is playing out.
Just want to quickly for the TikTok, everyone in chat, you can start saying hi TikTok if you like. Say hi TikTok. We're gonna talk about that in a second. I love what you're talking about in terms of the bomb as well. Everyone in chat, hello YouTube Shorts, yeah maybe hi TikTok. I'm on TikTok. Mom, get the camera. All right, perfect. All right, awesome. Okay, so and Zay don't want to get in there too. Oh no, not again. Okay, so in terms of the bomb, that's a really good mentality to have. One of the things that I recommend people do, I call this the cootie protocol. Okay, the cooties. The bomb does not have cooties, right? I want you to be the driver in the situation. I want you to pick up the bomb every single round. And even if you don't want to have it for the round, drop it near the barrier where you think you're going to be attacking the bomb site first. Okay?
Right.
That way you limit the randomness. You also limit that time where everyone avoids the bomb like a plague and they run to that one spot and then they leave bomb and spawn.
It's just sitting back there.
Yeah, just bring it to the barrier. Bring it to the barrier.
Yeah, that happens a lot in my rank. A lot. Or you have a duelist that just takes it and then peeks mid every single time.
At least they're bringing it with them. That's at least it's moving forward. Start to the stream. Here we go. Let's reach up, everyone. Reach up and chat and bring it on down. Should we pick up bomb if no one watches planter? Should we be picking up bomb if no one watches planter? Are you talking about like when they die with the bomb? You should be. You should always be going for objective. So you're gonna say something? Go ahead.
I will say, I have a tendency when I'm planting, not all the time, but sometimes I'll rush in and just try to plant the bomb so that they're on a time limit and not us, which is not good because you need to be able to at least clear first. So I feel like it's better to play slow because there's like a minute and a half, 2 minutes on the clock. Like you have time to play it out. You can force fights as hard or as slowly as you want to and then plant once you're in a secure position to do so, instead of just getting the bomb down
and that's
or
actually
worrying about people defending you.
And that's actually what chat's talking about right now, is when to go for the plant, which is important. I'm glad that you're bringing this up. And it's a very wise question in chat to bring this up. When do we plant? The ideal time to plant is when we have site control. Okay, that's straight up. Now, how do you identify when site control has been obtained? The way you do that is through... Oh, you have an answer? Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say, when you have at least half your team on the site, you're watching multiple threat angles.
Okay. Yep, that's definitely one way of thinking about it. The two ways that I like to think about it is if you get 2 picks on site, so 2 kills on site, generally speaking, you probably have control. And it's going to be up to the duelist now to clear the rest of the site. Okay? Or whoever's next in to clear the next of the site. Okay? It's not the planter's job. So they can clear for a potential 3rd threat. But usually it's going to be a 2-1-2 in these ranks, so it's very simple for you. Okay? So you get 2 picks on site, you're probably good. And when you want to plant, you actually want to plant more in the open. Because if you plant more in the open, it's harder for them to defuse. right? So think of it from this perspective. They have 7 seconds to defuse the bomb. Takes a while, right? If you plant it more and more open, you have more sight lines to cover that bomb from, less chance of them being able to frag you, and then have time to be able to defuse the bomb. Okay? If you decide to go for a default plant, which most people do because other people do that, and that's supposed to be the thing you do, right? You end up getting into a lot of trouble doing that. You end up increasing the chances of the enemy team actually defusing that bomb and winning that round. So default is an absolute last resort. The other way that you know that you have site control is if you have back lane control. So you kind of described that a little bit by controlling the sight lines, but base rule would be is if you have Raze in the position that she's in. If she has control over this spot, as in has sight lines towards CT, she has relative control over that entranceway and information wise. Okay, so if you have backlane control, you're good to plant open. That's when you know you can plant. Those 2 rules right there. Okay. The default plant is when you are forced to plant in a spot when you have no other choice. Okay? Unless you have lineups. If you have like a team of 4 people that have confident lineups for default, you plant for default, right? If you're planning on stalling. So we see that a lot in Pearl, for example, right? We'll have Jet Mollies. We'll have Viper Mollies. We'll have, Sova Shock Darts, whatever it is, a KO Molly. They have it all set up for themselves. That's the only exception of the rule. Okay.
Right.
Cool.
I felt that a lot. I'm a Viper player naturally, so I have a lot of Ascent lineups specifically. So I always do default.
Definitely. Fracture helped me in our duo when a fracture game. That's awesome, Kian. I'm so glad to hear that. I want to do that every Monday if possible. To give you guys like a Q&A where you guys can just pop in, show me a clip, and I can give you a little bit of advice. I wish I fully recorded that. It would have been great to have it. Yeah, guys, if you haven't already, jump on to the Discord. Socials listed in the chat. We'll do it I'll try to do it every Monday. I will be going to Italy very soon, so it's going to be hard for me to fit in days for that, but...
I do want to say in that clip specifically before it all went down,
this one here?
Before the
I can see. How do we end up here?
Not very well. So before the barrier lifted, I had told my team not to push in because I had noticed in previous rounds that every single time at the start of the round, the enemy Sova would always throw a dart into the little lobby area. So I was like, don't push in yet, wait for the dart to go down.
Could you not break it?
You could, but I was trying not to because I didn't want to give them the assumption that we were there. Because in my mind, for some reason, I thought that would keep them from pushing through a main.
You're
Obviously,
a thinker.
though, like in a higher rank, that wouldn't be the case. They would take it as like a free entry. But I was like, maybe we should make them think we're going somewhere else. So let's not interact with this at all.
Okay, so it's funny because your thinking is actually self-sabotaging yourself. Your thinking is self-sabotaging, right? Because you had all of this in your mind about Sova Dart and everything, and then you didn't realize that the Sova could be here.
Yeah.
So you took your knife out.
He
right?
had all that space because he thought it was clear.
Oh,
So I was like, okay, let me just fit myself in the corner, knife out.
Yeah. So you're thinking too much. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And once again, we talked about this before. You're playing chess, and you should be playing checkers. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Right. Here's the thing: if you break the dart, what do you communicate to the enemy team?
That somebody at least was watching.
That's the key. Somebody is there. We don't know numbers.
Yeah.
They just know somebody is there. Now, in your rank, you might have wild people on the enemy team that stack all A once you break that dart. That's a possibility, I guess. But it's pretty random and unlikely. Okay?
Right.
So if you break this dart alone, you're good. I actually made a TikTok on this before too, where it's called the Mine protocol. A lot of people have a struggle, especially on Ascent, for example, where they'll end up having 5 people towards A, and they'll be like, oh, we gotta break the Sova Dart, right? And they'll call it at the beginning of the round, the Sova Dart will land here, and 3 or 4 of them will shoot the dart together. It's like, so I call it the Mine protocol because back in the day when I was playing baseball, there was always those situations where the outfielders would get a hit flying out to them, and then the midfielder and the right fielder or the left fielder will come in, and there's a chance they'll run into each other. You've probably seen this before, right? If you ever watch baseball. So someone's going to say, mine, I've got it, and then that person gets it. So what you can do at the beginning of the round is quickly communicate to your team, I'm going to get the dart here. You guys can trust me, go in, I got the dart. You know where it's going to land, so you just position yourself right after the barrier here, and you just shoot that dart right away, okay? And you just tell everyone, I got the dart, don't worry about the dart, okay?
Right.
Because at the end of the day then, they don't know how many people are there. They just know someone is there, okay?
Yeah. If they also hear like multiple rounds firing at the dart, they're gonna be like, oh, there's a lot of people over there.
Yeah.
If they're close enough.
So the problem here ultimately, yes, you're taking your knife out, exposing yourself to a threat. Again, this is the most common thing that this rank deals with, right? The problem that you deal with, right? But I would say that the issue here more so is you're thinking too much. You're just thinking too much. I want you to keep it simple, right? So there's a protocol for this that some of my teachers and some of my coaches in the past have taught me. And don't take offense to this, but it's the KISS protocol. You ever heard of the KISS protocol? KISS. Okay, it's an acronym that stands for keep it simple, stupid. Okay, they did that because they're pretty harsh coaches. We can just have it KIS if you want. Keep it simple, right? Keep it simple. Whenever you're in a state where you're thinking too much, when you're identifying this, to say all you need to do is shoot these guys in the face, right? All I gotta do is shoot these guys in the face. Keep it simple. Do one thought process at a time, okay? And I want you to slow down a little bit and think about what you're gonna do before you do it. And one of the biggest keys that you need to really focus on is look at that mini map and saying, am I safe in this moment? If I'm not safe in this moment, my gun is out. Okay?
I have a really big thing doing that. I pull my knife out a lot, I think. Mostly, like, I'll do it in between movement steps. Like, I'll flip between my gun and my knife to, like, whip into a corner faster or something like that because I know that I'll move quicker in that moment.
Sometimes you
just,
have
like, something
to.
I'm used to doing.
Sometimes you have to, but you also need to be aware of where people can be, right?
Yeah.
There's times when I do that to be able to avoid a line of sight or to single out and solo out a fight. So it's a 1v1 versus a 2v1, right? That there's times to do that, but you need to be hyper aware. Like you almost have to have spider sense and feel exactly where they are, which is completely possible to do, by the way. It's completely possible. And I'll teach you how to do that. I'll teach you how to do it.
I've been getting better at predicting too, I think.
That's good. Just by watching my streams, you'll be able to get a good idea as well. So it's funny because as we're talking about predicting where people are going to be, I knew the Sova was going to be there at that exact moment based on where they were playing the previous round and how long it would take for that person to rotate. Okay? This is something that we're going to do another story, chat, because you love the stories. Back in my day, I used to play a game called Quake. And in Quake, it was a deathmatch mode, and you have to memorize exactly where all the health packs were spawning in, and all the utility was spawning in, and you have all the timings in your head. You'd be thinking about it and like thinking about where that person's gonna spawn next, all that stuff. I get this. Chat loves it. I get this. This protocol, the next one, the mental projection protocol from that game and other games like it, thinking about where I would be if I were them. The path to victory is through the eyes of the opponent. So here's how you start building your prediction. This is something that I want you to start working on later on, not necessarily right now. It would help a little bit for sure and help you predict. But if you were to, let's just play it out just for fun. If we were to take a guess right here, what do you think the enemy team is going to do in terms of their setup? What do you think is the most common setup you've seen if you're to place characters across the map? We'll use 5 Sovas, okay? Where would you place your 5 Sovas if you're on defense?
I would put 2 on A, 1 peeking from B, 1 sitting in garage window, and 1 on C.
You got it. That's usually what happens. You have a 1, 1, 1, 2. Okay? So having that in your head, every single round, I want you to pretend that's what they're going to do until you've been proven otherwise. Because you're going in with an educated assumption. This is the mental projection. Now, if you go with that assumption, and you guys go to hit C, you know how long approximately it's going to take for someone from garage to peek you here, to rotate to this position, etc. You know how long it's going to take for someone from B relatively, to be here, or to peek you from garage, or to wrap you through mid and start flanking. You know how long it's going to take for someone from A to go all the way through CT, all the way to here, or wrap you through here. Same idea with this character right here. Okay? Now you have ideas and timings in your head. So when you go and you attack this bomb site, you're saying to yourself, okay, I'm going to assume there's one person there. Let's watch this round back again. Okay. There's your person on C. So now you're thinking, okay, that person spotted me. They spotted a bunch of people. They saw like 3 or 4. So they're communicating the rush is happening. That person garage is either going to come down here and start playing in that spot, or maybe even push through the smoke, or they're going to start wrapping and supporting. So we're looking at 2 people on C with 1 person in motion going this way. Okay. So that third person's right here. Okay. So let's see if we're right. Here comes the scan. Is there 2? There's 2 on site now. We have... Right? So that was all the timing. It took about 5 seconds for them to get there. That means they could have been pushing right through garage. So I'm going to assume that's the garage player. That means the other person's probably here, or they're now pushing through the smoke on CT. So we're going to be looking at 3 people on site in a second here. Okay? The other people on A have been motioning as well. They haven't been wrapping through on flanks. We haven't seen a flank once, so I'm going to assume they're coming through CT. Oh, look, there's your third person. That was your B player. Okay, there you go. Now your other person is probably right here. Okay, that's going to be your Sova. Your Sova is now going to be rotating over. The other person is going to be right in this spot. You have about 5 more seconds before the other person comes through on Jet, and you have about 4 more seconds until someone peeks you on garage. Okay, there's the other person. 1, 2. Okay, 3, 4 seconds. Next person's going to be peeking you on garage. Here it comes. 3, 2, 1. Peeking you on garage. There it is. Okay.
At this point, we know all 3 of their positions.
You know where everyone is. Okay. That means that was literally the setup you drew up. This happens all the time in all ranks. Doesn't matter what rank you are, you can predict every single position of where they're going to be all the time.
Right.
Okay. So I don't want you focusing on that too much right now, but I want you to be mindful of it so that you can grow that skill later on. Okay.
Right. Should I think more like how would I play if it was reverse and I was on their side trying to defend?
You can start doing that, but remember your main protocol is keep it simple. We don't want to overthink too much, okay?
Okay.
Right now, mechanics are most important to you, and keeping this simple is so most important. Looking at the minimap and knowing where your threat is. Exactly, right there. You knew he was there, and you threw your utility out, right? You cannot face a threat with utility. That is more important for you to focus on.
He was there. I didn't need to.
I was yelling because our sage was like, KJ, you can place your alarm bot in garage, but I was like, I knew he was there. That's why I was sitting there and waiting.
Right. Don't listen to them. Okay. Remember, mute them all because they don't know. They listen. It's no offense again. It's a blind leading the blind, right? They have no fucking clue what they're talking about, right?
Right.
You knew he was there, right? And then you allowed that person to influence your decision making. Again,
there's no reason to place an alarm
absolutely.
bot when I know
And
he's
you know what's
sitting...
funny is that you're actually talking to yourself too. That was my perspective of watching this. You're telling yourself, "Why am I doing this?" Right?
There. I was gonna place an alarm bot at the
I try to correct myself as I play.
That's good. That's good.
But I knew he was just sitting.
I do that in deathmatch all the time. Like, okay, I lost this fight because of this, and this is what I need to fix in the next fight. Perfect, I got that now. Right? So self-assessment is very important. It's a very good habit to get into.
I also have a habit of getting on myself a lot for when I lose a fight or I do something stupid like, oh, I'm ass at this game.
Well, you got to be careful with the words that you say to yourself because it's gonna make it a reality in your life. You gotta be very, very careful with what you say. Okay, so let's watch this again. That last round was a mental projection. That's gonna be a tough one. That might have to be a whole YouTube video.
Get out of my way. One.
This one's gonna be a crosshair placement thing, I believe. Let's take a look again.
Definitely, because I didn't clear that corner.
Okay, so on top of that, let's watch the creep up here. You could be dead from mid. Okay. It's not going to happen very often in your rank right now that people are going to move past that offside line again, but there's a chance they could run right through here. You have no one covering window, so you need to be aware of that being a threat. Okay. You walk into all these fights, which is also a little bit of an issue. And now look at your crosshair placement here. Where's your next likely threat?
To
that corner.
My immediate right, yeah.
That corner that you just flicked right by. Okay. So that was the issue. Okay, so this is good, right? It's good to get punished like this because now you know, oh, people play that spot.
Yeah.
So you have two ways of looking at this. You can get down on yourself and upset that you died and say, oh, I'm never going to be good at this game, blah, 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 blah. Or you can say, oh, people play there. That's interesting.
Right.
I'm going to remember that for
People
next
are
time.
predictable, so they could do it again.
People play that. Yeah. So now I can take that. And next time I approach Garage, maybe it's the next game I play. Might not even be this one. I now know that that is a potential threat.
Rena's one.
Right.
I can either choose to learn from this moment, or I can lose in this moment. Which one are you going to choose?
Sage's great.
Right?
I'd rather choose to win.
Instead of you good, well, win would be good. Win would be ideal.
Yeah.
But
Or,
you
like,
win or you
learn.
learn. You win or you learn. Okay.
Garage.
Sage is still garage.
Couch monkey. You're a W. You're a W. Cheyenne's back. Awesome. I would love a video on mental projection because I know for a fact I struggle with it. Well, I might actually just like clip that whole section and just make it a YouTube video.
Last player
Sage
standing.
flank.
How to predict everything.
Block the enemy's line of sight.
Okay.
Because I can maybe make it into a TikTok, but it would be like a lot of cutting and pasting.
Going A.
I think people should remove trackers. A lot of teammates start getting in their heads. Yes, 100%. I am losing any potential sponsorship with trackers now by saying this, but 100% I think you should remove them. The one tracker that I do like is strats.gg, which I can link to you guys. Strats.gg worthy. I like that one because you can change. Here you go. You're learning. Yes, that's good. Now you just need to calm that you're doing it so that two of
Right.
you aren't shooting it. That way
Right.
you're not giving up useless information at that point, right? So that was good. That's exactly what I wanted to see. So you're learning. This is a W moment. Round of applause. I love it.
Thank you.
Right. Yeah, 100%. I think you should remove trackers because it does more harm than good. The amount of information you get off of the numbers does not outweigh the potential risks of you looking at, say, an immortal on the enemy team and saying, "Oh, we're gonna get rolled," right? You're just telling yourself stories at that point. So I would say that risk versus reward trackers generally aren't that great. Strats.gg/worthytv /worthy that I just linked in there. It's got a really good overlay that you can turn off stats if you wanted to or have them on, and it gives you lineups. So on the fly, you can look up a lineup through the game, which is awesome. And if there's anything that you needed to do to counter a particular position, you've got it right at your fingertips right there. So I think that's probably one of the best ones, in my opinion.
I will say I used Val Tracker for like a month or two before I got rid of it because all it would ever do was give me anxiety queuing into a game and then seeing whether or not someone was way below me or way above me. Not like anxiety necessarily, but I definitely got intimidated. And that's another thing that happens with people's act ranks that they display
Yeah.
when you're like loading into a map. I hate that. Like the other day I was queuing in and I saw somebody had a plat and I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get steamrolled. And then the person ended up bottom fragging the entire time.
Yeah,
With,
they're
like,
there for a reason.
no
That's what
impact.
happens. They're there for a reason. If they're in your lobby, they're there for a reason, right? They might
Right.
have touched plat by some grace of God, but ultimately their skills are iron level, right? So things happen in this game where people should not be where they are, but it all sorts itself out. It all comes out in the wash at some point, right? So it's like me, for example, when I first played ranked. Now, mind you, I was playing with and scrimming with the guys on FaZe Clan, okay? So, Baby Bay, all those guys. When I first played ranked, when Valorant released in beta, it's ranked. Take a guess as to what you think my rank was when I first got it. What do you think I got?
I would say definitely probably I don't remember if it was out or not, but somewhere around high elo like Ascendant because you had that prior experience.
Ascendant wasn't out in beta.
Okay.
Radiant was called Valorant, and it
Okay.
was so it was just no Ascendant, and everything else was there. Okay, I appreciate your faith in me. I really do. I love that. I love that you think I'm an Ascendant player when I first started with comp in Valorant.
I feel like for the most part for Valorant, you can really carry through a lot of the lower and mid elo solely based on your gun skill alone because there's your game sense, at least from what I've seen, only makes a real impact once you've gotten past like plat diamond area. So I feel like at least you would have carried past that point.
Yeah, I felt so too, and they gave me silver 1.
Oh. I didn't mean to make it sound like that. My bad.
Right after finishing a scrim with Radiance, with pro players on the current tour, they set me up as silver 1. I said to the former coach of FaZe Clan, Trippy, I'm like, get this, I got silver 1 after winning 5 of my fucking red games. I'm like, what's going on right now? And they were laughing. They were laughing their ass off at me. Now here's the thing, right? As I said, everything comes out in the wash. You will eventually go to where you're supposed to go. These people that are sitting in plat that are now in your lobby, they'll eventually go where they're supposed to go, right? So there's 2 ways I could have approached this. Again, talking about mindset. I could have said, fuck this game, I'm not playing it, and going back to CSGO or playing whatever game I want to play, and just grinding that because this game clearly doesn't respect my skill, right? I could have said that, and that's a very fixed mindset. Or I could have said, nope, you know what's happening here? The universe is testing me, and I need to prove myself again, and that's okay. I've done it before, I'll do it again.
Right.
What rank did I end off with? Do you know?
I don't.
Valorant.
Aw.
I ended off in Valorant. Okay, took me a couple months to break out of the MMR shithole they put me in, but I ended up getting there.
You did it.
But I got there. Exactly. It all comes out in the wash, right?
I had a similar experience, not on the same scale, obviously, but when I first started playing ranked for real, like maybe like 6-7 months ago, and at first I placed into bronze 1, but after that, in every act, I would consistently be hard stuck iron. It was ridiculous. Like, I don't think I actually genuinely got out of iron until like 2 or 3 months ago. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Can you see the common trend here about you're not safe? Remember we talked about this on round 1? I think it was round 2 or 3? Round 3. How I said when you're rotating back, this space is not safe.
No.
It's funny you don't remember that? Well, it's funny how how things come back, you know? The universe is a very, very good teacher, right? Sometimes it chooses the instruments incorrectly, but in this case, the universe chose correctly, right? And this is a learning opportunity right here. You finally got punished for something that you should have got punished for before. So here it is.
Right.
Bass, thank you so much for the tier 1, so I appreciate you, my friend. Okay? So that was going to happen eventually. That was going to happen eventually, right?
I think I said that too. I was like, I should have known that would happen.
Well, you were knocking on the door for a while there. Dingle, I'll get that. Okay, I'll get the push-ups in real quick. Okay, we're on defense, and I'm excited for defense because defense KJs at this rank have a great opportunity for growth.
I actually did a lot better on defense than I did on attack. When I was attacking, I was consistently bottom. I don't feel like I was very contributing to the team.
I'm gonna stop you right here. I'm gonna stop you right here.
Like,
I'm going to stop you right here because you said
like
I started doing better because I was bottom as an attacker. I want you to stop attributing how good you're doing to where you're sitting on the scoreboard. That means absolutely nothing. Let me ask you a question. Where did you end off on in the scoreboard on this game? Don't look at your career. Tell me right now.
I think second frag on our team.
Okay, you know that for a fact?
Mm-hmm.
You know that for a fact? Let's find out if you're right. Let's find out if you're right here. Looks like it. Let's see. Second frag, 23. I don't think so. 12. I don't think you were. I don't think you hit. I don't think you were. I want you to. Let's see. Did you hit tab at all? Did we hit tab at all?
A lot. Just not like. I didn't hold it.
That was 4th, right, Osti? 4th? Okay, that was 4th. Alright. Did you play a game today?
I haven't, no. I was gonna play some TDM for a little bit before, but I didn't when you messaged me.
Okay. Did you play a game yesterday?
I did.
Okay. Was it one game?
No, it was like a couple. I
Okay.
wasn't.
Where
playing
did you end
comp,
up on the
I was doing
scoreboard?
Swiss.
On both games, where'd you end up on the scoreboard?
I was usually match MVP or team MVP.
Okay,
Depending on-
5 days ago, you played a game.
Mhm.
Where'd you end up on the scoreboard?
No idea.
10 days ago, did you play a game?
Yeah.
You sure? Do you even remember? What day was 10 days ago?
I couldn't tell you actually.
What'd you have for breakfast that day?
I couldn't tell you.
What'd you have for dinner?
I don't know.
Can you
Probably
see where
'cause
I'm
it
going
doesn't
with this?
matter.
Exactly. It doesn't fucking matter. Nobody fucking cares. Okay? Nobody
Right.
cares. Right? So, we attribute something as a performance metric that nobody gives a shit about. Think about that for a
Right.
second. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's one way of changing the mental. You may be not performing in terms of where you sit on your direct impact, because there's two types of impact, by the way. There's direct and passive impact. Okay? We'll talk about passive another time. But you may not be performing in that. But is it possible that in this particular round, you can get 5 kills and all of a sudden be on the top of the scoreboard and all of a sudden everything turns around in one round? Is that possible?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100% it is, right? So does
You
that
play
mean
differently
that
every round.
you're playing good now? Or does it mean you're playing
Not
bad now?
necessarily.
No, it doesn't, right? Here's the thing, right? When you first started this game, did you care where you were on the scoreboard?
No.
No. What changed?
Probably how I felt about my gameplay after I took fights, whether or not I felt I was doing good.
Where did that come from, though? What made the scoreboard attribute to your decision that you were playing good or bad? I know the answer to this question. I know where it comes from. I want to see if you can come
My
with
mentality.
it. Your mentality. But how did your mental get shifted to this mindset? Because your mental was fine before when you first started. You didn't care. So how did it shift?
It shifted downward. I thought that,
No,
I'm
but-
losing in stupid ways.
But how did it shift? What was the catalyst to make it start thinking this way? What was the catalyst? I'm going to give you the answer.
Okay.
Some prick online who was afraid of performing poorly based on his own metric of where he was sitting on the scoreboard told you that you were not playing well because you were bottom fragging. I guarantee you someone along the line did something like that to you and completely shifted your mental. You
So it
adapted
sits with me.
You adapted their fear. You were pure in your own mind and didn't give a shit, and now someone else who is sitting rent-free in your head for the remainder of your career in Valorant is telling you that you're not playing well.
Right.
And now you've been hurt by that person. Think about that. How crazy that is. Because here's the thing. I'm not sure who's in your family right now. Maybe you have a father, a mother, whatever it is. Someone close to you who does not play Valorant. If you sat them down and you said to them, I want you to play the game, tell me how you feel. And like, oh, this is fun. This is great. But they're on bottom frag. Do you think they know what that means? Or what they even... Do you think they even care about that?
No, definitely not.
They don't. They don't. But I guarantee you, if you ran an experiment with them and said, no, listen, if you press tab right now, you can see exactly how you're doing in game. And right now, you're not doing well. How are they going to feel?
It would impact my confidence personally.
Right. For them, it would probably impact it too. And they'll say,
Yeah.
so I got to be higher on the scoreboard. Right?
Right.
So you're enabling
they're-
this line of thinking.
They have that
Right.
pressure. And they think if they don't do that immediately, then they're just going to get worse and worse.
Correct. So you have the ability with your own words to shift someone's mental. This is an important lesson for everyone in chat. The words that you say to people in ranked have impact. You have the power to be able to uplift someone or to knock them down. You need to choose what type of person you're going to be. Are you going to be the beacon of light in this community, or are you going to be that prick on TikTok telling you that misogyny is okay? Who is it going to be? Who are you going to be, right? Here's the thing I'm going to say to you. This mentality of where you're sitting on the scoreboard is incorrect. I'll give you an example of why. The best game I ever played in my opinion, was in WCG. Okay, this was the World Cyber Games. This was the old day. It was like the Olympics of gaming. Okay, Counter-Strike was in there. A game called Crossfire was in there, and I was competing in the Crossfire game. So this was a tactical shooter very similar to Counter-Strike. Okay, now I was in a qualifier for Canada, and one of the best games I ever played, in my opinion, I went 6-12. Okay, if you look at stats and anyone from above looks at the stats, they would say immediately, because of their own fear, that worthy guy's a bad player. He didn't do well, right? So guess what happens? In that game, those 6 frags that I got equaled 6 round wins. They were each 1v1s. Those are the only frags that I got, and I was IGLing that game. So with that in mind, knowing that the 6-12 equaled 6 round wins, was I a good player or was I a bad player? What do you think? What's your thought? I lost her again.
No, I'm here.
there
I'm
you are.
sorry.
You tell me, what do you think?
I
Good
was
player or
paying
bad
attention.
player?
I was in the moment. I would say that makes you a good player.
Yeah. But anyone else who has no idea and they're just looking at the scoreboard says, oh, that worthy guy is not picking up his socks.
No,
No.
I'm trying to pay attention to your wise wisdom.
I appreciate it. But yeah, so again, right there, right? A score line that doesn't look pretty, but I remember that game because on paper we should have lost against that team over and over again. I was able to call a really awesome IGL strat, which I remember all the time. I was doing something called flipping the map, which is the first time I've ever done something like this before. It was never seen in Crossfire. It was never brought up. Flipping the map is taking your entire team, and instead of playing defense, you wrap around and you play attack. So literally in Haven, for example, you, instead of, and this is actually a really good strategy if you go like 9-3 and you're on offense, you switch to defense, you go and you take your players, and either on C long or A, you push right through, okay? Push right through, you take spawn, you let them plant, and then you go and attack them like you're on offense, and you have the advantage, okay? So I brought that to the game. And a team that should have absolutely ruffle stomped us, we were able to beat them. In those 6 rounds, I was able to 1v1. So I look back on that moment fondly whenever I feel like this kind of statement right here, where I look at myself in the scoreboard, I'm like, oh, that doesn't mean anything. Because this time happened for me, where I actually created impact. And the numbers really doesn't matter, because people who are watching this from afar, let's say I'm 10s and I have low scores, they have absolutely no idea what the hell they're talking about. They're looking at a number and just assuming things. I'll give you another example. FNS recently was playing in, this was when he was on Optic, and he was bottom fragging. Okay, I don't know if you ever watched VCT. He was bottom fragging. And one of the casters had the audacity to say to that, to the other caster, well, FNS really needs to pick up their socks right now. They're not really doing that well on the scoreboard, right? I really don't like this caster. She's been around for a while. Yeah, I'm not going to name names. But anyways, she says this, right? And I'm sitting here rolling my eyes. The same round, and it was on Breeze. The same, hey, it was honestly, I'm not going to say, okay. Yeah. So the same round, literally right after she says this, FNS gets a 4v1 clutch, a 1v4 clutch, and all of a sudden she turns around and is like, oh my god, FNS is the most amazing player ever. Da, da, da. Like literally 2 seconds ago you were trashing on him. Like what is this, right? So perspective is a very important thing. Okay,
For sure. Every single player in your team is capable of anything at any moment. That's why, like, you'll see your 3-17 Astra all of a sudden clutches a 1v4. Because somebody's at the bottom doesn't mean they're not capable of carrying your team in some way, shape, or form at some point.
Exactly, and that's what makes this game so exciting, because every round is a brand new game. Just repeat yourself that if you're ever feeling like shit because the scoreboard of the past is showing a number that you don't like, every round's a brand new game, and you're always capable of turning things around at any moment. You've been there before, you can do it again.
Right.
Yeah, Asti, I'm so glad you called that out. She got diamond brain, but the fundamentals are inconsistent. So, yeah, that's okay, Asti. She'll get more consistent for sure. We'll get the fundamentals down for her. Okay,
That's what I'm
so
hoping.
What's the plan here? What are we doing?
I couldn't tell you. I won't lie, looking at this, I could not tell you. So my setup is based around the idea that if they push into a site from main, then they'll be hit with my alarm bot, and then I can set up no area with my mollies along the like standard kill zone where they usually would like strafe into sight.
Okay, so why play it from here?
I play from here mostly because if they're on a different site, then I can rotate faster than if I was sitting in heaven or in back by sewer.
Okay, so here's something that we need to learn about Valorant as a fundamental. The person who is furthest left, or the person who is furthest right on the map, has a very specific role called the anchor. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, the anchor is the last person to rotate. They're like the captain on a ship. Okay? The last person to leave, first one to get there, last person to leave. Okay? So you were actually playing anchor, and then you gave up the role of anchor to the brimstone after you did that. Right?
Okay.
So with that being in mind, if you were the first one left, you cannot leave, and you generally don't want to unless you're getting overwhelmed. Okay, so you want to hold that space for as long as you possibly can. Does that make sense? So the next piece here, let's pretend that brimstone doesn't exist, and you're right here. Retaking a site is a bitch. Okay,
Yeah,
it's a bitch. So what you're doing right now is playing into the exact thing that they want and the exact thing that you do not want to do, which is to retake. You actually want to be fighting for the space if you can. Now, if you had to retake, what you need to do is break that rule, the invisible rule of the offside line that's right here. Because what you want to do is retake from behind. It's easier to retake from behind. But how often in your rank do you see people pushing through mid and retaking from behind?
Not very often.
Not at all. I guarantee you it
No.
doesn't happen at all.
No.
Maybe once or twice. Maybe you might have someone, maybe who's watched my content, for example, and they're doing it, right? And they do it
Right.
inefficiently, and they end up getting shot, and someone tells them, don't be aggressive on defense, right? That's what's going to end up happening. Why are you
Right.
pushing? Why are you pushing? Don't push, right? So what's going to happen is all 4 or 5 of you are going to group up right here. You're going to run through this choke point. You're going to get completely raffle
one by
stomped,
one.
picked
Yeah.
off, or whatever it is. It's going to be a very sad day for you. And then what's going to happen is the following round, you're going to do the exact same setup again. And then you're going to sit back here. It's going to happen again. You're going to lose the round again. And then the next round, you're going to do it again. You're like, well, third time's got to work, right? No. You got to change it up, okay? So this right here is playing into their advantage, into our disadvantage, okay?
Right.
I would rather you be on site playing off the utility than playing off of it. The other piece too is that think about the power of your turret. The turret is an info gathering utility. It's not about damage. A lot of people think about utility replacing a gunfight, and that's one of the most unhealthiest things that you can do. Any molly, for example, that you throw is not replacing a gunfight. We don't throw a molly to kill someone. We throw them to zone off a section of the map that we don't want them going to. Okay? So if you have this situation and you're trying to get info, for example, you can run down at the beginning of the round and place a turret like this, and it will point over this area. If it sees no one, then you know that you're safe. You can rotate off of A early on. Okay? Or you could even push through based on the information that you know at that point. Okay?
And I can pinch them.
Correct. Now you can pinch, you can start breaking that rule again if you wanted to. It creates more options for you. And this is something that I talked about with one of my previous TikToks that some people argued with me on, which was like really dumb as far as I'm concerned. But you could do this to get more space at this point, right? You can change it up a little bit. If they're giving you a hard time, you can place your mollies like this, for example, or place them like that with an alarm bot over here afterwards. And if it reacts, then, or it's something more like this, if it reacts, then you can use this to be able to stall off. You can play passive and communicate so that your teammates can get to this position before they can take sight. And that way you're not doing a full retake through this nasty choke point. Does that make sense? So the info gather of this turret going out, the sacrifice of the turret, allows you to get that info to know if people are coming towards A, and you can start calling earlier that people are coming towards A, and people can rotate and support you. That way you're not doing that full retake again through this nasty choke point right here. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Let's move on. Holding space plus delaying equals Sentinel's job on defense. Yes, delaying being very annoying. Very annoying. Right? Something that sages don't understand a lot. Right? They throw a wall because they're like, oh, I'm going to throw a wall here because they got to do this. No. You throw a wall to be annoying. If your DPI is far too low or high, you might want to lower or higher if you're under aiming or over aiming. I agree with that, Kaggers. You could. Or you adapt to it. Okay, I'm a little concerned, knowing my experience. Probably not going to happen in this rank, but I'm a little concerned someone might flank here. Okay? Think of it like this. You've got 4 people looking in this direction. Is adding a 5th person looking in that direction really going to help?
No.
No. But what will help is you watching the flank right now. Because this is the win condition. If someone walks in, let's say it's me, okay? I'm going to see you guys looking there. I'm not going to shoot you right away. I'm going to walk right up into you. I'm going to kill the raise. Then I'm going to snap to you two and kill 2 of you. All of a sudden, now it's a 2v2 situation. Okay? That's what's going through my head. I guarantee you in this situation, both of these people are over here because you're at this rank right now. But it's something that you need to be aware of. You look up here and you're like, there's 4 people looking here. There's no use for me looking there as well. I'm going to look towards the spot where we're most threatened. Okay?
I agree. I've definitely tried to push from their side when I'm attacked trying to retake.
I was really hopeful that the Reyna was flanking right now. I was really hopeful.
I stomped on her, actually.
Yeah. Yes, you did.
In this moment, I have no idea where Harbor is.
I agree. We saw Harbor towards this area, and here's what I'm worried about. It's a 4v1. 3 of us are very low, and there's 47 seconds. Do we win in 47 seconds?
We could.
We win in 47 seconds. Right?
Right.
If the timer runs out, do we need to take a fight here at all?
No.
No, we don't. So here's what I would communicate in this moment. 4v1, 4v1, no need to fight. If someone decides to take a fight after you say that, that's now on them. If you don't say anything...
We spike, don't we?
I'm not 100% sure right now. But if we say this and someone takes a fight, it's on them. If we don't say anything, we lose a round, it's now on us. This is how we take extreme ownership, okay?
Nice.
So that was a forced 1v1, which is exactly what Harbor needs to get back into this round, okay? It went in our favor, but in another universe, in another time, in an alternate reality, we lost this 1v4.
Right, because that was our only person that was at full health.
Yeah, very good possibility we lose off of that, right? So it's very important to go with statistical plays, and the statistical play there is making that calm. Make sense?
Right. Yeah.
For Samer, so I can't flick in the slightest if I lower it. Let's say way up. Yeah, exactly, Dingman. Exactly. I love to see the activity in chat today. I'm glad that we're all engaged and ready to go. Questions are fantastic. See, you're doing this again. All right? You haven't been punished on it. That's why you're doing it.
A lot.
And listen, there are some sites where this works, right? But you are actually giving them site for no value right now.
Right, because they're getting the crowd up on right before where my molly is going. So at that point, after it ends, they can just push in.
And you know what's funny
Which
is
is
that
what they do.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is that when you don't challenge for space early on, they keep all their utility for free. And then when they attack the site, they throw their utility onto you. So now you're like, well, there's nothing I can do, right?
What side are they pushing?
A.
The fact that you were able to get this is because they made a mistake. Do you know what mistake they were making here? It's the same thing that I told you about with planting the bomb. Remember? How do you know when you can plant the bomb?
When you have full site control.
When you have site control. How do you know if you have full site control?
When your entire team is there and you have everybody watching an angle.
You remember the 2 rules I told you.
When you have at least 2 down as well.
2 down on site, or back lane control.
Right.
Okay. Do they have back lane control right now? Do they have a sight line in the CT?
Absolutely not. She actually cut them off from it with that wall.
Yeah. Do they have 2 kills on site?
Did you not?
Okay. So what's going to happen?
What side are they pushing?
Free kill. 2 free kills, in fact. And there's a planter.
A.
You can swing right now. Oh, easy sight hold. right? Because they didn't have bomb site control, and they went for the plant right away. Remember how we talked about how you have that problem? They have that problem too, right?
Flawless.
Nice job.
Was Jet coming up from flank right there, or from?
Let's see. Let's see.
Flawless.
Looks like it, yeah.
Okay.
So you know what's possible.
Yeah.
One enemy.
Yeah, it ran right through the wall here. You see the wall got broken? Yeah, there you go. See? It's a possibility. Even at this rank.
Nice job.
Bo Flanagan, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub, my friend. And for the follow.
Another
Baggers.
thing that I have issues with, especially when I'm at a disadvantage, is knowing econ. Like, I do not really understand what makes an eco in a buy round, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like, I've always tried to spend and like keep my next round credits above 4K because I feel like that's where I'm like most financially comfortable usually, but I don't know when and when I shouldn't buy, if that makes sense. I usually go off of like generally what the rest of my team does.
So as a KJ, you need a little bit more money for all the utility setups, obviously. Okay.
Yeah.
If we're going to keep the game very simple, again, 3,900 is minimum you need to buy with your team full. Okay. So as long as you have 3,900, you can buy a Vandal or Phantom with full armor. I always recommend you buy full armor in this rank because people are hitting legs, they're hitting friggin' toenails, they're hitting Narnia, they're shooting Prince Caspian in the friggin' head. Sometimes they'll accident you in the face, right? But if you have that heavy armor, you're mitigating a lot of the random element in this rank. Okay, so that is a requirement. So you must be able to full buy Vandal and full buy your armor. Okay.
Okay.
Now, again, we're thinking about purely taking fights. As a Sentinel player, you do need a little extra money for the utility, but you can also, this is going to be a little bit offsetting for some people in chat. Maybe Osti will disagree with me on this one, but if I were you in this rank, I wouldn't worry too much about my utility. Just make sure that I can buy that and get the Vandal in my hands as much as I possibly can. Because I would rather you be able to shoot everyone else in the face than you have to be forced to having a sheriff, to having all the utility, and relying on Misha Mash over here to 5k everyone else. I don't trust Misha Mash. Misha Mash is from legal department back at work. I'm not sure where you work right now. And she's having a casual day where she's putting her feet up and relaxing a little bit, wants to play a little Valorant, wants to throw your elo, all that stuff. I'm not trusting Misha Mash over here, but I trust you. So I'd rather you have the Vandal, okay? Now, like I said, once we get higher in rank, that Sentinel utility is going to be very important for you. But you could probably break and bend the rules a little bit if it means you have a Vandal in your hands or something that's going to be comfortable for you to frag with. Do we agree or do we disagree with this one, chat? I'd like to hear your opinion on this one.
I agree. I feel like so far in the game, most of like what my clutches and what I've contributed to around have not been in part because of my utility. Honestly, I think that at least for defense, at least being concerned about my utility held me back at times. And I did better in one-on-ones.
Again, the other thing that we talked about too that you struggle with is thinking too much, right?
Yeah,
when you have all of the Sentinel utility, you're thinking a lot, right? So if we could simplify the game for you a little bit, it might actually benefit you a lot until we start learning how to implement it properly, right? I've given you a couple of examples of things you can do for your turret that you haven't done before, right? You put your turret very passively. I want it more aggressively. That would be an example of something you can do.
Immediately watching.
Yeah, exactly. So there, Osti says I semi-agree, and Osti, I agree with you on semi-agreeing because there's definitely a factor in which. You remember how I was talking about Prince Caspian, Narnia, and all the bullets going all over the place? Your first two went over here, right?
Oh yeah.
If it's happening to you, it's happening to them, okay? But yeah, in the long run, it will benefit you. I agree with you, Osti, to learn that stuff. But I also think you need to learn the fundamentals of how to take a proper gunfight And if that means you getting the Vandal in your hands more often than not, in your rank, I'm probably going to have the Vandal in my hands. I'm going to disregard this stuff, right?
For sure.
And arguments can be made for both sides. Arguments can be made for both sides. But I think for you, based on what I've seen, you think a lot. And I think we need to decrease our thinking a little bit and just make it simple. Do you play a lot of deathmatch, by the way?
I don't play deathmatch necessarily, because one thing that really gets me about deathmatch is the random spawns. Like, I can't stand it. It makes it so frustrating for me to try and like practice my fights, because half the time I'll spawn in and then I'll walk around a corner and someone immediately clears me, and I don't think that that's very conductive for me, at least, because it's not accurate to how the game will go. It doesn't happen that frequently in game, so I don't play a lot of deathmatch. But what I will do is I'll practice on the 50 bots in the range for a little bit. I'll practice tapping their heads and I'll strafe in between my shots. I'll practice with them on strafe mode so that I can work with readjusting my crosshair better, because I also have issues with that. But for really practicing the game, I mostly depend on the Swift plays, because I feel like it's like a bite-sized version of how a game goes, so I can practice my action within an actual game without committing to the amount of time an actual game takes.
Well, I want to give you a little hack when it comes to deathmatch that a lot of people don't really realize. I've played a ton of deathmatch, probably more than most people, so I understand it quite a bit. This might be something new for Rosti as well, because he mentioned the same thing, or they mentioned the same thing about how you get frustrated with people shooting in the back. Here is the cool thing about it. When you spawn in certain sections of the map, you can actually memorize where people are going to be spawning from, right? Kind of like how mental projection works. You can know where people are going to spawn from. So when you spawn in a certain section, if you kill someone and you walk away from that area approximately 5 to 7 steps away, if someone died on the map, they will spawn behind you. So you can have that timing and you'll be able to hear it. So I know it's not ideal, but the idea behind deathmatch is not about winning or losing it and getting frustrated by it. It's more so putting yourself in as many gunfight situations as you possibly can in the least amount of time as possible. When I was playing competitively, in every single game that I played, there was a deathmatch mode of some kind, and they had issues with spawns here and there sometimes. But it wasn't about that. It was about me getting exposure, right? And what I would do is I'd play approximately 15 games a day, because I needed to make sure that I had my, when I began, 15 games a day to make sure I got all my mechanics down and get as much as I possibly could. That way, when I got into an actual match, I wasn't thinking about what button do I press. I wasn't thinking about where my crosshair placement needs to be. I wasn't thinking about any of that stuff. All I was thinking about is where do I need to be and when do I need to be there, and what are the enemy teams going to do and how do I counter them. The more important things, right? So I think it's very important for you to expose yourself, if it means TDM, whatever it is that's comfortable for you, to get more gunfights, right? Get more efficient with that stuff and add a routine for yourself every day where you play, you know, at least 5 TDMs or DMs and get those matches into you, okay? So that's going to be a big piece, ultimately, is getting that good productive practice in. And what you can do, too, is with a deathmatch, for example, record it and look back at it and ask yourself, what could I have done in that fight to win it? Or what could I have done to make that fight better for me? Did I peek multiple people at once? All that good stuff, right? Show us what best fitting settings we should use for better performance. I think I have them set up. I was looking this up in a YouTube video about ideal settings. There is one that came out. I think we had it posted in Discord for a while. So I think I'm set to those settings. I'll have to pull up my game to pull that up. So remind me with that arm. Arm also brought up in the last round, you put your ult in a spot that was super exposed. I don't really want to talk about this too much because I feel like it's taking us away from the thought process again, or making us think too much again. But obviously with your ult, we want to make sure we get ideal value out of it. So if you place it here, it's too exposed, right? If you place,
think that.
yeah. So if you place it here, obviously they now have to push in to fight it. Now you have a chance to get another kill off that. That's all really important, right? So yeah, that's a small thing. Let's move ahead to the next round because we are really behind schedule.
She heard me.
Not sure.
I was just talking way too much in this VOD.
It's okay. You were.
I didn't have
preaching
time to
from your
rotate that.
soapbox. I appreciate it.
I appreciate your patience. I'm running DM right now to just try steps things like, I know where spawns are, but I didn't know that you could just walk away and look back. Yeah, you literally, you can move forward and then you look back. And there's like, on Breeze, for example, if you spawn in a cave and you move forward, someone will spawn in shops every single time. It's like you move forward towards A, someone will spawn in shops. It happens all the freaking time. You're just moving. It's all based on your movement and your distance from where those spawn points are. It's all the same spawn points. So you need to move and buy, not buy, then move. Yes, thank you, Asti. We'll talk about that right now. Appreciate you. This is a protocol I talk about all the time. So, it's important to start breaking this habit. I want you to run to where you're going to defend. Okay, so in this situation, where are you going to go?
Well, I've been defaulting to A, so I'd assume I immediately am gonna go and try to anchor A.
Okay, so we're going to go to A. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to run towards the barrier first. Don't buy. While you're there, or you're running, I want you to think about what kind of fights are you likely going to take. Are they going to be close range fights? Are they going to be long range fights? What's your plan? And then on your pathway there, you're going to buy accordingly. The reason why this is important to do is that we don't want to waste time and potentially start the round in spawn in this position because we're thinking too much. And by the time we get to the barrier, we're now taking a fight because they've gained all this space on us. So this is the start right to finish right protocol. You buy on route to the spot that you're going to defend from. That way you're set up. And you're not changing your mind like this. Now you have 10 seconds to get to where you want to go and set up. Okay? See how now you're behind the 8 ball here, and now your setup's going to be late. And any kind of fight that you want to take on longer ranges through, say, sewers or to support your raise here can't be done. And now they're already taking space on A main at this point. And you're setting up
the round started and I'm still setting up.
Correct. That's very important as a KJ, right? Because your setup is so key. You got to run right away to where you want to set up. So on the fly, buying as you're moving is super key as a killjoy. Okay.
Coming back.
Bro, no. Kovacs are 8 miles. Switch with amos.
One enemy remaining.
Okay, this round was a Rick roll.
Keep it cool.
Same setup.
That's how you survive.
See, here's the other thing that you need to learn as a killjoy is that you should be rotating yourself, right? Sometimes you're playing towards A, sometimes you're playing towards B, sometimes you're playing towards C or garage. You should be moving constantly. So calming out early that I'm going to go to this spot or this spot is totally within your right of doing that. Someone tells you to fuck off and don't do that, you mute them. And you do what you're supposed to do at that point.
I only saw Reyna.
Okay.
I'm just gonna start doing that from now on. I just instantly mute everybody.
you literally can. You literally can. And you can still communicate to them, right? So it doesn't mean that you can't, stop talking. Now, this is important. Look at what your teammates are doing.
2 are pushed into main.
Look at what you're doing.
And I'm playing back in CT.
This right here is something called the dead space protocol. This is where your actions per minute are not doing anything for the forward momentum of our team here on this round, right? You're sitting back here playing passively off of a setup that really doesn't have much of an impact considering the only pathway is in here. Yeah, and they have full control over this spot. So let's assume that nobody's crossed into sewers. You're literally not doing anything, right? Can you see that? Oh, there you go. Someone's in the sewers. So now your utility might come of use. But look, your Raids is taking fights right now. Your Sova's taking fights, and you're just chilling. You're just chilling. Right. I almost think you might be AFK.
Spike down A.
You might be AFK.
The one in sewer's dead.
Are you gonna move anytime soon?
One of them is. Reyna's not. She's lurking. I'm paying attention, apparently.
Are we planning? Are we planning? And I think you were on your phone.
I was
Let's be
calming.
honest. You were you were common, but I think you were on your phone. Let's be honest.
That's possible, yeah.
Still haven't done anything. Oh, there we go. There we go. Someone reacted to your long utility. By the way, this entire time someone could have flanked you from B.
Right. It's entirely possible. I don't know where at least one of them is.
The one in sewer's dead.
For some reason, I think someone
Reyna's not.
appeared.
She's lurking. Reyna's sitting
Oh, yeah,
sewer.
still there.
Jet popped her ult. She's on site.
Yeah.
I don't know where Soka is.
Yeah, it was totally possible, right?
One enemy remaining.
And that's fine, Broseph, but if your team is playing a certain way, you have to play with them, right?
That's true.
We are the nanoswarms. We are one with the nanoswarms. We have one purpose.
I will say I do have more than one setup for Haven. I know this doesn't give me room to say that, but I do. I just don't ever play them, apparently.
I believe you. I believe you.
Oh, to the left!
Did you speak a different language there?
I was saying she was to my left. She swung.
Nice kill.
Jet's out.
Destroyed.
I don't even think that's the right call, though. No.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too, again, where's your threat coming from?
Destroyed.
I knew Jet was hell, at least. Sage had just popped her wall, so realistically
Thinking too much.
she was
Where's your
probably
threat coming from? Thinking
front of
too
me.
much. In front of you. You got it.
Okay.
What are you doing right now?
Breaking the wall to give them room into me.
Are you doing that right now? Or are you reloading your gun?
Reloading my gun.
Can you shoot back when you're reloading?
No.
There you go. Again, same problem. Know where your threat is. Know what you can and can't do. You can't
Right.
face a threat while reloading. You can't face a threat while holding your knife out. You can't face a threat when you have utility out. Period.
Right.
Okay? You're not ready for this fight. I don't care if you got that shot off. You weren't ready for the fight. You weren't mentally ready for it. It came out and you went your eyes went wide. I guarantee
caught
you.
off guard.
I guarantee you if we had a webcam right now and you're up here, and next time if we do it when we do a VOD review, I'd love to have your webcam up there so that we can see your reactions, because that will tell a
Right.
story for you as well. Record with your webcam. Record with there's a thing called from GitHub. It's a overlay to show you what keys you're pressing as well. That's another good thing to throw onto the VOD. This will give us a lot of information. Right? Your eyes went like this. You're like,
Oh,
shit!
to the left!
Oh, shit!
To the
Right?
left! Right.
Under
I was like, oh, she swung on me. That's crazy.
Threat awareness. Threat awareness.
Thank you.
Very important. Fleur says, Sis gotta switch up her setups. They're getting predictable. What do you
That's
guys
true.
use to record your games? I use Streamlabs OBS, OBS Studio. Those are the ones. OBS Studio I find works best because it's less taxing on the hardware. But I stream with Streamlabs OBS, in which I need to switch at some point. when there's been getting on that for me.
I'll have to figure out how to record my face as well. It's just I don't like do video recording stuff, so I don't know.
You
I
just
would put
attach
that
the.
together.
What are you using right now? Are you using OBS?
No, I'm using Metal.
Okay, I'm not sure how Metal works, but yeah,
No, it
OBS
just
is very
records
easy.
as I press the button.
That's it.
Planting
Yeah, I think you would probably need OBS to do that.
Okay.
See, oh, look, someone's retaking from flank. Amazing. Oh, too bad. It was
Endless
winnable.
set, but that's okay.
I had my knife out. Reyna's main.
Can you tell me why I play against higher ranks with lower ranked teammates, where do I have a chance to win the game? They literally ran over us, and I'm losing 23 RR while having a positive KD. Okay, I've already brought this up in the stream. When someone in pre-round or pre-game shows up with a platinum rank and you're sitting in bronze, what does that mean, Ali?
That they've reached that point. That doesn't mean that they're necessarily still there or anything, because there's a reason that they're playing with you in that present moment.
They're exactly where they deserve to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just because they touched it before doesn't mean they've earned it. right? They might have had it before.
Yeah.
So I'd say more often than not, RB, you got to be very, very careful with trackers telling you a story. You have to be very, very careful with your preconception of these players. Because here's what's going to happen. You start a game, you see this rank, and then you say to yourself, shit, we're going to get run over because they have an immortal player or they have this kind of player, all this stuff, right? Guess what? They're in their rank because they deserve to be there. They're playing you because their MMR or something along the lines has told the system that they're supposed to be there. Okay? Whether that person is actually an immortal or not doesn't matter, right? What you need to be focused on is your mental of, it's just another human being, it's another player in my game, and I'm going to do the best I possibly can. All I want to do is win or learn. If you lose 23 RR and you do not record your game, you lose 23 RR. If you lose 23 RR but you record your game and you rewatch it and you take in a lesson or two or you learn something brand new, then you lose that 23 RR but you've learned something. Now there's value for that loss. This is the same reason why I keep talking about smurfing can be a good thing. I'm not saying that the act of smurfing is good and I'm not condoning it. But what I am saying is that you can learn something if you get the benefit of recording your gameplay. I bet you, RB, if I ask you this straight up, did you record that game? I guarantee you didn't. Because most people don't. And if you did, fantastic. If you did, wait until you've emotionally let go of the loss, and then I want you to watch it back and tell me what was good about that loss. Good, perfect, love it. What was good about that loss? What did you learn? And what can you do better next time? And if you want, you can send me the VOD or send me a couple of clips from that game where that smurf or that person killed you, and we can go over it. I don't mind. We can go over like 1 or 2 rounds after stream. Okay? Perfect. It's good that you did that. It's good that you did that. I'm going to give you a round of applause. Okay, what happened on that round? So you start getting pushed on C. This was
this pretty well.
Yep, this was a bit of a movement error, so you got lucky on this one. So your timing was a little bit off. I would just back up here. The problem is when you move to this position, they can come to your left, they can come straight in front of you. So
right, and I'm alone.
Yeah, so it's an awkward fight altogether. Just back up, take the CT space.
Into CT?
Yeah, and then let the Raze take the fight at that point.
Okay.
Or distract for the Raze as the Raze is coming up by shooting some shots randomly into a wall, and that's gonna make that guy look right directly at you, making it easy for them to move up on you. Let's move ahead.
For retake, push in. I'll use my dart.
Yeah, Placid, this is the only VOD we have tonight.
No way! Use your ult solo.
And then we're gonna go do some 10-mans in Discord. So guys, if you haven't already, do join up on the Discord.
Garage push, garage push.
Yeah, RB, wait until you've emotionally cleared yourself of what happened in the game, and then watch it. Because if you sit there being pissed off, you're going to be biased when you look at it, and it's not going to be effective.
I don't often record my games, actually. I'll clip what I think I did well.
Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, this is hilarious, by the way. This is funny.
What the fuck am I watching? What the fuck am I watching?
That was terrible.
What the fuck was that?
He ran straight past me.
So I switched off to Harbor.
If you're not a good shot today,
lucky for Harbor, I am not
was this
good
Grand
in a
Central
crisis.
Station? Was I in Union Station, Toronto? People just running in front of you. It's like, oh yeah, sure, take the space, man, no problem.
It got busy. It got busy.
It got busy real quick. What the fuck? Man, I have no comment on that one. Okay, so this buy can be a little iffy. Why not buy a sheriff here? I know what the answer is going to be.
I hate the sheriff.
Why?
I passionately dislike that gun.
Why?
Because I have such an issue with the recoil animation that it does. I can't look past it, and it will more often than not throw off my shot.
Well,
I can't use it.
I have bad news for you. This is a you problem, and it needs to be fixed.
It is a me problem.
And it needs to be fixed because the sheriff is the most important weapon in the game to learn. Okay? So unfortunately, I'm going to assign you homework. It's going to be to play death matches with the sheriff. And I know this is going to suck a lot because you're going to get killed from long range a lot. You'll hit a one tap and you'll be like, oh my god, amazing, I hit the tap, but I can't kill him because it's long range. That's very important because when you're in deathmatch, you want to position yourself in the ideal range so you get a one tap. This is a very important drill for you. So if you peek someone at long range, you have to run away from the fight.
Right.
Find the closer fights, right? Path yourself a certain way. Because when you're playing in this moment here, it's the exact same thing as if you were playing in a deathmatch against people who have full armor and they have vandals. What's going to end up happening is if you have a sheriff, you got to position yourself properly to get into that one tap range, that one bullet. You don't even have to worry about the recoil at that point. Will end up hitting that head once. Okay, we'll talk about the recoil itself and how to deal with it in a second. Okay. So positioning is very important in deathmatch with the sheriff, okay? The reason why the sheriff is so important is that you can win rounds, get some nice frags with the Phantom and Vandal. The Phantom and Vandal will score you frags, but the sheriff will win you championships. How well you perform on your eco rounds will drastically shift the overall result of the game. There's been so many high-level players that have thrifted rounds based on a really good sheriff because you have that one-shot potential when you're in the right position, okay?
Right.
So, unfortunately, if you want to play this game and get to a higher rank, the sheriff is a must, and you must DM with it. I'm going to say at least 3 games a day is what your homework is going to be with the sheriff until it becomes so freaking natural to you. If you get good with the sheriff, you get good with every gun, okay? So it translates because your crosshair placement is going to be better. Your timing of aim and everything like that is going to be so important, right? An upper gun equals 2 guns equals thrifty. Exactly, Asti. The amount of times you can thrifty it's incredible, okay? Now, in terms of shooting the gun to deal with the recoil, you ever heard the song Staying Alive?
I have, yeah.
Right. And you can't tell by the way I use my voice. Notice what I'm doing with the tap?
On beat.
Shot, 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 shot. That's the speed that you're shooting it at, okay? If you speed up past it, ask yourself why you sped up. Was it fear? Why am I afraid in that moment? Okay. If it's fear and it's because of that reason, now I know positioning was the problem. Now I gotta fix my positioning. This is no. Bad ult. Bad ult. Right? You're going into your last round. The chance of you winning that, very low. In fact, think of it like this. You want them to fight you in this moment. If you throw your ult down, that's gonna make them run away and go to the opposite site, and now you have no chance of winning, right?
Right.
Let me teach them how to do it, or
it's going to be harder for me to infiltrate on them than it is going to infiltrate on me if they have control of the.
Yeah, well, and then you have your ult for this round too, right? Which increases your chances to win. RB, do you know if there's a coach for people who are interested in starting coaching themselves? I actually do that a little bit, RB. I'm working with a few coaches right now, so. I'd be open to.
I will say, I think that in that moment, I probably threw my ult down out of panic more than anything.
Yep, fear. It's very present in your games. I notice it a lot.
Yeah.
Same idea, Fleur. Yeah, CPR. Fight this. Good peek. Good peek. That's what I would take away from that. Your peak was straight line. It was efficient. Crosshair placement was a little bit off, but it was okay altogether, right? That was a decent peak. Love that.
Right.
It's a long fucking game. Holy shit.
Yeah, I know. That's another thing. Like once you get to a certain point where the game just keeps going and going and going, you lose the momentum to actually play it.
Oh, this is mental. This is mental again, right? Okay, so think of it like this. You're playing in the finals game of VCT, and you're playing 5 maps, and every game goes into OT. Those people need to maintain their performance the entire time. That game could be going for 8 hours. In fact, we saw this in CSGO last year in Germany, I think it was. Berlin. I believe it was Berlin. I could be wrong. And there was a game between FaZe Clan and I can't remember the other team. Might have been Fnatic. Might have been Navi. Navi? I think Navi. And it went on for 8 hours. How do you maintain the same level of skill for that long?
I get frustrated at 40
He
minutes.
was clearing
It's
garage.
fitness. Mental fitness. That's key, right? It's about who wants it most. Who is able to maintain everything.
Right.
Here's the importance.
Oh my God, why?
Okay, first of all,
Why? Why
fitness
did
and
we
stamina is
lose
going to be
that?
very key. But the next piece is going to be to tell yourself that every round's a brand new game again.
Okay.
Right? Reset yourself. It's like all that shit was in the past. What am I going to do to win this particular round? That's important.
Right.
Deeply shocked.
Okay. Let me see what happened here. Let's see if I can give you some feedback on this particular round.
I think.
Don't
I don't know
overthink
what
it.
I think
That's my
actually.
job.
That's the issue.
Valorant is simply just a game of attrition physically.
Deploying drone.
With utility and mentality is 100% placid. I agree with you on that.
Turret out.
Interesting smokes.
Drone close.
Oh, free kill. There you go. Nice. One to your right. You heard him. Jet dash. Beautiful.
Spike down. C.
I'd grab bomb and go towards A.
I thought he was clearing garage.
Let's see.
Spike down. C.
I think I trusted Sova.
Well, the smokes went away.
Yeah.
Sova wouldn't run through the smokes. So.
Ah!
That was just an assessment thing. Let's move ahead to defense. Okay. It's a good thing they went to the site.
One's going wrong. Grenade out.
We had a lot of people stacked towards this direction.
Placing swarm grenade. Smoke's down. Swarm grenade out.
Right here.
Spike planted.
Revealing area.
And we're all pushing through CT.
Yep. But you have numbers here, so it should be easier. This smoke is scaring the shit out of me. Because someone could just be in here. In the smoke right now, popping it on you. Yeah. So, it's important, it didn't happen here, but it's important to understand that smokes are not your friend when you are up numbers. As in, like, if you look at the top of the screen, you see that it's like 5v4. You see a smoke in the middle of the site. Good chance someone's sitting in there. Because they're going to use it to peek in and out and try to generate a fight.
kills.
Yeah.
One enemy remaining.
Just hold for me, hold for me.
Good calm.
Nice.
Love it.
Nice, nice.
Move on.
We should go A.
I'll attempt to get a pick and then immediately rotate.
Break the cove, yeah. Could have broke it too. Wasn't
I'm gonna throw a stim beacon.
first map. Guard versus Enemy had an hour tech pause after pistol rush. Oh yeah. Tech
Yeah,
pauses
don't
are
shoot
very
it if it
interesting.
drops.
Yeah, stay back, stay back.
Ah. The collective disappointment is crazy. We're holding it together.
Brainer will see.
Don't plant default.
Sentry. Wall raised.
Oh, you're planting default.
When I have
See-
sight, I can plant in the open.
Yeah, no, the only problem you had is you can't plant completely open because that the heaven's open, right? So you
Yeah.
can plant a little bit more exposed so that long can see it. Because right now, if you plant here, no pathway can see it, and that forces everyone to play on site. So there's a
Right.
very good chance we could lose this now. You actually increase chances of the enemy team winning when you plant in a spot like this by
Placing
default.
swarm grenade. Placing swarm grenade.
You're facing a threat angle.
No! She fucking tapped me through the smoke. Swarm grenade out.
You gotta push CT. No, it's too late. You're dead.
Turret destroyed.
I don't know how you're not dead right now. That's crazy. How does this become a 2v2?
They're
This is
also
fail.
a bronze player.
He's gonna jump. He's gonna jump. He's gonna jump into it.
Reload hard, filter.
Oh no! Jesus! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Last player standing.
Okay, so yeah, he can't use it here. Yeah. Okay, so mix the different things. Utility when you weren't safe, a whole bunch of times like that. Okay, so here is the big point right here. Here's the big point here. Okay, when you're down numbers, how should you play the situation? What do you think? What's the best move?
A lot safer for starters.
Moo. Incorrect. Incorrect. Opposite. Opposite. When you are down
Really?
numbers, yes. Think of it like this. If you play and hide into a corner and they got massive amounts of numbers, they're going to completely overwhelm you. Okay? If you play like this and it works, it's because the enemy team made a critical mistake in clearing you. You never want to play for a mistake that they make. You want to assume they're going to make every decision correctly. Okay? This is statistics. This is from 20 years of playing this game. I've played the way that you think. It doesn't work. Okay? What you need to do in this moment is play aggressive. It's the opposite. You know there's people coming from here, and you know there's people from CT. The closest fight that you have is CT. What I would do is run into CT and force the fight as soon as I possibly can, and try to get 2, catch them off guard. That would make it a 2v2 situation. The fact that we make this a 2v2 with how you're playing is a miracle on ice. Okay? It's literally a Disney movie. This never should have happened. Okay?
No.
Right?
I was punished for it. I'm already down.
Yeah.
A lot.
And now watch how awkward this fight is too, right? Like, you should have taken space here and fought. Simple way to think about it, when you're down numbers, your odds of winning the round are less than 50%. Any fight that is 50% or greater is so good because it's better odds than winning the round as this. Yes, so basically your percentage round of winning, your percentages of winning when you're down numbers is significantly lower. So the only way you have a chance to get back into it is if you even the numbers up. So you have to be aggressive and find the fight. See how you got overwhelmed here? Now this was a 2v2 situation, but this is how it should have looked when you had the 4v2. They should have completely overwhelmed you, and you would have had nothing you could have done.
Right, and that would have been fine.
I didn't put myself in a very good spot there.
She had a chance to run out. Exactly. That's what I was going to do, Insane. Was literally you push into the arena, fight the arena, push all the way through into heaven, and then fight the guy in heaven afterwards. They probably wouldn't expect you to flank there.
No, because he was busy clearing, so he wouldn't take the opportunity to like check behind him.
Yeah, probably had his dart pack. I know, exactly. Guys, just wanted to thank everyone who came out, followed, supported today, subscribed. I think I did 180 push-ups today, so 18 subs. I appreciate you guys so much. It really makes all of this possible, the show possible, being able to do it. I would eventually like to make coaching free, completely free. And it's people like you who support every day that make that more and more possible every day. So I appreciate you all for coming out. If you like another form of way of supporting, Patreon's fantastic for that. You can do that through the exclamation point Patreon. There are options within there to get alternative forms of coaching as well. We do tier 3 coaching. It's $25 a month. You can cancel at any point in time, and that gives you the ability to do live coaching with one or many of our coaches watching your gameplay in our 10-mans. So we'd love to have you in there if you're interested in that. If one-on-one coaching is just too expensive, that's an alternative way of doing it. Thank you again for all the support, guys. This round right here was pretty straightforward. Didn't really need to talk too much about it. There was probably a few things, but
Push here.
At least 2 over here, Pete. Yeah,
been sharing around with a bunch of people. God, is maybe I'll give them a fan discount.
Holy crap! Got 2 of us here is really sad.
Holy crap, eh? Let's talk about trading. Okay.
Yeah.
This is actually bringing us back to round number 1. But we're going to take things a little bit further here. When you are trading with a teammate, it's very important to understand that if you're the second person in, you need to stay calm. Okay? You have to hit your first shot. Those are two things that are mandatory. Because the thing is that this Sage is depending on you to get value on her death. Otherwise, her death is in vain. Okay?
Right.
So when she goes in like this, you must take your time and make sure you hit the first shot. You did. Good job. Okay? The second and third, not so great. You started freaking out. So your mentality here was, your eyes went wide again. You weren't ready for it. You got surprised. You have
Like,
to
oh, there's a
be...
person.
You're baiting, right? You're baiting Misha here. You need to make sure that you get value on it. Now, here's the mentality. Whenever you're with someone, take your time and ensure the first shot is hit. And think of it like this. If this Silva were to kill you, she should also have the same mentality. Because one of you is going to get that trade. But what ends up happening is if you get into a state of panic in these moments, this will happen.
Right.
And now you have no value. And you lost 2 people to it. Okay? So staying calm and knowing that this Sova can only kill one of us at a time. Unless we position it correctly. But can only kill us one at a time. You have all the time in the world to hit your first shot. Fair enough?
Right.
Holy crap!
Go for 50.
You gotta tell yourself and convince yourself of that.
Honestly, the fact that Sova managed to get that was kind of impressive, considering how he was playing through the game as well.
He got it off a mistake, though.
Right.
He got it off a mistake, and that was
Exactly.
your mistake, right? You should have punished him for his positioning there. In fact, what he should have done is never
They're going
killed
now,
that
they're going now.
Sage.
Here, sewer.
I think he ended up shooting that Sage, and the Sage flicked. If he didn't shoot that Sage, you would have walked right by him. He would have killed both of you guys for free, without any without any challenge from you.
Right.
Good job.
Nice.
Let's see. I'm curious to see how this ends.
Not well.
Oh my god, I whiffed.
Enemy spotted.
It could be broken right away if someone's walking up.
28 Silva.
Okay, you're in a 2v2 situation. How are you supposed to play this?
Aggressive.
You
Push
got
up
it.
on the Reyna.
You got it. Fight them.
So I have one. going
See how
CT,
you're
one
waiting for them to
garage, and I
swing you?
lose.
See how you're waiting for them to swing you?
But if I had
And-
pushed up on Reyna, then I wouldn't have had to take
Maybe
the
not
fight
Reyna,
from
but
Sage.
maybe at least Sage, right?
Yeah.
Could have been anyone. At least
anyone
then you're
Sage.
fighting, right?
Yeah.
You're looking for that even out number. Okay. You missed your one shot. Don't stand here.
Breaks through window.
If you keep standing there, they're gonna keep spamming through.
Right.
Someone go A. Someone go A.
My turret's
I'm
watching
losing
it.
you.
It's clear. It's clear.
It's gone now. You don't know that. It's gone now.
Jet's pushing from garage.
I want to point out that was the part where I said my turret's watching A. It's clear, but I'm not standing.
You're
in
not
the
standing in
radius
it,
of the
yeah.
Turret.
Yeah.
Smoke me off.
So certain. Okay, down numbers. What do we gotta do to be able to retake this?
Play aggressive.
You got it.
Scanning ahead.
Don't wait for them to walk into you. They're not gonna do it. They're dumb if they do.
Get punished for this. No.
You
They're gonna
you
sit back and
you
wait
had
for
to make a
us.
play. You said you're gonna get
Right.
punished for this. You had to make a play. You have to make a play. You're down numbers. Don't do this. You're gonna give up your positioning. There's someone
Right.
behind you. You can get that pick, I think. There he is. He's on your left. Never mind. Probably all long, pretty much.
Defeated.
Seems
Enemy
like it.
spotted C.
Could be wrapping on garage here. Could be garage. Check garage. Oh, your teammate's dead. Help your teammate. Help your teammate. Help your teammate.
Last player standing.
How?
Movement error. Okay. Here's the next thing I'm gonna give to you. Go into your settings. Go into
Yeah.
your video settings, and then go into stats. You're gonna scroll all the way down. And you're gonna turn shooting error on to on. Okay. You want to turn it to graph only. What it's gonna do is it's gonna give you a graph that's like right here. Okay. And
Okay.
every time you move and shoot, it'll show you a blue line. Okay. Every time you stand still and shoot, it'll show you a yellow line. You want yellow lines, you don't want blue lines. So when you're going into your range, or you're going to the death match, all that good stuff, you can, after every fight, do a little self-reflection and see, was I moving in that moment? Because your big key is to try to make every shot go as straight as you possibly can, okay? Later on, once you've learned that, we'll start including other mechanical things, such as shadow stepping, all that good stuff. But for right now, we're going to keep it very simple for you, and we just want to make sure that all the shots are yellow, okay?
Okay.
And that's going to be your goal when you're
Okay.
practicing,
GG.
okay? What were your
my,
top... Sorry, what's up?
In my sheriff DMs.
Sheriff DMs especially, because you need to have those shots go straight.
Right.
Yeah. So what were your top takeaways from today? Top learnings?
First of all, I need to think a lot less because I'm overcomplicating things for myself, and it's putting me in a position where I'm taking a fight with either no util, or I am over predicting what they're doing, and because I'm thinking about it so hard, they're just making a move on me and I'm losing. I need to also be able to be more flexible, I think, because a lot of this is just me defaulting the entire time to what I've been doing.
Yep. You're autopiloting a little bit, but the autopiloting isn't getting you punished yet because the teams that you're playing and the people you're playing are not good enough.
Right.
So that's simple. So you are going to reach a problem once you get to platinum, and I'll be along with you on this journey. I'm sure we'll do some more sessions in the future. I'd love to continue working with you. I think there's a lot of benefit that we can go through. Once we get to that platinum moment, you're going to be like, this is exactly what you're talking about, how like I'm getting caught with these autopilots. So if you can start breaking that right away, that's a good step, but not 100% priority right now, for sure.
Right.
Allie is her name. Placid Funky, thank you so much for the gifted sub. Thank you for the 2 gifted subs. I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much. Off my mortgage one. What the hell? Allie with a Y, right?
I-E.
I-E. Sorry. I thought it was.
No.
I confused it with the
No,
Karate
Y
Kid.
is what they call me at Chick-fil-A. Don't worry. I'm used to correcting them.
Allie with an IE, guys. All right. Allie with an IE. All right. What does shadow stepping mean? Shadow stepping is, and don't take this in right now, it's too complicated. Well, you can understand it. You can listen to it. So moving in any direction, up, down, left, right, 2 steps in any direction will
throw off my aim severely.
No.
Or my bullets, not my
well,
aim
you're talking about, see, this is why I don't want to overcomplicate it for you. But when this is a movement fundamental.
Okay.
When you're moving in any direction, within 2 steps, the enemy cannot hear you. So you can get ideal amounts of speed without walking and still be able to peak angles and then moving around. So the next step after shadow stepping is dead zoning, which is the change of direction within those 2 steps. If you're within those 2 steps and you're changing direction, you're still fully accurate when you're changing directions. So you can get away with small burst steps where you're moving back and forth and still be accurate between your shots. There's a small window where you can change directions and still be able to shoot accurately. That's all going to be for later. Right now, all I want you to do personally is make sure your shots are all yellow. And then after that, we can start adding in the additional things that are going to take you to the next level with that stuff, okay?
Okay.
And it's just too complicated right now. Is there another VOD? Not today, Forbidden Llama, but we will be live on Thursday. We'll be live on Thursday, but I definitely recommend you watch this one, Llama. It was a really good one for sure. Shadow Steps are my bestie on God. Definitely. I think they're everyone's bestie. All right, awesome. What other takeaways do you have before we move to wrap here?
I definitely think that for this game in particular, my mental played a big role in how I took the entire game. I think that I was, if you like pay attention like how I'm talking to myself in the VOD, I'm dogging on myself a lot for the things that I do wrong, and I'm not really like learning from them necessarily. I'm just like, oh, I lost in this moment.
Yeah.
I'm playing terribly, instead of realizing what I did, readjusting, and making sure to not make that same mistake and playing in a different way so that I can benefit.
You are the author of your own reality, right? If you tell yourself something's going to happen, it's going to happen. There's a really good saying: when a man feels he's going to die that day, he'll often find a way to make it happen. If you tell yourself you are bad and you dog on yourself, you're going to make that more of your reality. Okay.
Right.
It's very important that you empower yourself with words that are going to benefit what it is you're trying to do and your objective and your goal in life. If you choose to dog on yourself, you're going to only disservice yourself and your mission in life. It's very important for yourself to, if nothing else, you need to believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will, right?
Right.
So you can inspire everyone in your ranked games to do better just by being that beacon of light and being uplifting for yourself and everyone else around you. Okay?
Exactly. Because if I'm more confident in myself and I show that, then potentially I could be making my team as a whole more confident, because they're like, oh, this person's playing really well. I feel like we have a better chance at winning this. And they're taking their fights with a more clear head.
Absolutely. Yep. All right, awesome work today. Awesome work out there. I know we deep dived a lot of the mental stuff, but it ended up just being part of it. Definitely the next time we do a VOD, I want to deep dive a little bit more mechanical stuff for you. And I think one of the best things for you is to get the GitHub overlay, get it in OBS if you can, and that way you can put it on there so we can see it. And that would just take things to the next level. We also can have your webcam included too. That would be great to be able to see how you're reacting, how you're feeling in those moments. But definitely, as Aussie says in chat, W student, W VOD, W Alley with an IE. And thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to do this. When you're ready to do more, let me know. I have about 2 to 3 more slots left in August before I go away in Italy. So if you're interested in doing it in booking right now, let me know after stream and then we can do that. But yeah, let me know how the games are going. If you know of anyone else that would benefit from this, word of mouth is how my business grows. So I appreciate anyone that you do send me. Okay.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your advice.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to do this.
Of course. Have a good rest of your stream.
All right. Thank you. See you later. Alrighty. All right, everyone. Awesome.